AI. From computers to robot dogs to Neuralink, we live in a world where technology is thriving. For better or for worse, artificial intelligence is here and it's here to stay. A blending of technology and humans, a culmination of minds.
She thick, boy.
She big boy. She good.
What if it was just a little unsymmetrical and like eyes were real close together?
Right.
Would it be nearly as scary?
Probably.
Right?
Just a little special looking.
Just a little off. And you're like, oh, she's
I'd still smash.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what?
Those things are getting out of hand.
With the robots?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind of crazy.
I'm just shocked that we haven't just invested tons of money into like AI sex dolls. Like, let's be
I
real.
think in Japan they are.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
think they do that.
The people who buy them invest a lot of money in them.
Yeah.
They're pretty high quality things now.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, I haven't had one
He's
yet.
like, I don't have the money. I'm not there yet.
Okay, we'll talk offline. It's cool.
I don't know. I mean, I read a story about it. I saw a movie.
Yeah,
It
documentary.
Oh,
was a documentary. It was clearly
Yeah.
a documentary.
Yeah, Vice.
A lot of
right?
5-minute documentaries.
Yeah.
You know, categorized.
Boom.
I don't even know.
That's the Pornhub intro, by the way.
Is it?
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I'm
Okay, guys. Sure. Yeah, I'm the only one here.
I'm on the full free stuff.
He's like, I'm not paying for it.
I'm more of an XNXX kind of guy.
That's funny. Well, what's up, guys?
Oh, are we on?
We
I'm just
are.
over here being crude.
Well, you know,
Yep.
it's
We've been
cool.
live for
5 minutes, probably.
2
Yeah.
minutes and 48 seconds.
Yep.
AI, a conversation with an Italian. Hey,
AI.
it's okay, everybody. I'm Italian. I can say that.
It's fine.
You know.
Yes, he can.
You can say it even if you're not.
I can say it even if it's not.
There's
All right.
nobody here's gonna do shit about it.
Let's do our quick shout out to
Shout
our
out. Gonna bite
sponsor,
ya.
Coffee, guys.
Ammunition Coffee. Best coffee in Arizona.
I haven't seen what they got for this month yet.
Eddie has a personal stock in them, you know.
Yeah, I have pushed them
Yep.
over the line. They got a trailer out of me at this point. I'm sure that's that coffee trailer I sponsored.
I'm sure. And he's like, 98% of that is from me. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I haven't had coffee from them in I think a month, and I'm still working on the reserve caffeine
Yeah.
that
Right.
I've built up. Yeah.
Still in your
that low grade hum? Is that what they're hearing?
Yeah.
He's
It's not
that
the
idol
mic
now.
feedback. It's just me.
Well, we usually plug your store every week, so why don't you go ahead and plug it since you're on the show with us?
Yeah. Hey, show Eddie's picture.
All right,
Look, it's
I'll
Steak
bring it up
48 plates.
because everybody likes your picture.
Hey, that's me and
So-
Charisse, my friend.
This makes a lot
my
more.
friend.
Your friend makes a lot more sense now that I've gotten a little bit more about you. Like, oh, okay, he's got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh, his girlfriend. And then I was like, girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
Lady friend.
There you go, lady friend.
No, great woman. So I'm Eddie. I'm the CEO of State 48 Plates. CEO means I'm a small business owner and I'm just trying to sound fancy. Yeah, I own a body
you're the
armor company.
HMFIC.
We do great stuff. I'm sorry?
You're the HMFIC.
I like how you changed it to MF instead of M. That's actually the origin of that.
Oh.
Soft A. Anyway, so moving on.
I thought that was a Mickey Mouse reference. I missed it. Sorry.
You'll be all right.
A-I-O-U.
I
Woo!
stay up on the lingo. I'm turning 40 in like 3 weeks, by the way.
Freaking
So
awesome.
I'm starting to feel as if like it's kind of beneath me to look up what slang means anymore.
Yeah. So someone has to tell me what that means before my head explodes.
Head motherfucker in charge.
Thank you.
So, yeah, no, actually, the other day somebody was like, "Oh, and this diss track came out against Drake," and I listened to it, and it was just like an instrumental, and then it just kept going like BBL Drizzy, and I'm like, how's that a fucking diss? Like, what are you
How's
talking
that
about?
a song? You did nothing.
And like, if I wasn't on the toilet, I wouldn't have invested that much time into researching it. That's just where I'm at now. Like,
Right? It's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm now
Priorities.
feeling that it's more fun to ironically say slang and just look outdated in front of like young kids.
Right.
I'm like,
And just
oh,
love-
that's flames, fam. And they're like, what? I'm like, I don't know.
I was just
I don't
going
know.
with that.
Oh man.
Gas.
Man, we got a bunch of people on. Papa Joey's on. Super Horror Show's on. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing tonight?
Joey.
A lot of people that are equally confused by all the acronyms being thrown around.
Arthur. We got Arthur.
All right, so we're talking AI tonight. This can
We are.
be fun.
But first, we have to establish why in the hell did there ever need to be one made for head motherfucker in charge? I don't understand.
HMFIC.
What is a necessity? When do you need it? Ever? I don't know.
Because it rolled off the tongue
Real nice.
when it was
KY.
HNIC,
How? Okay.
and we're not allowed to say that.
Right.
Yeah, well.
Right.
Not even an acronym form. We can say N word, just you can't say N in an acronym that talks about the word that you can't say.
Yeah.
Well,
Makes sense.
then one would be referring to someone else, and I'm not going to go down that road.
We don't need to get in
I'll be a
trouble this
motherfucker
early.
instead.
Yeah, because I don't think that other one's even a thing.
Anyway, moving on. So
So
AI.
Eddie's the HMFIC.
Yes.
So
Of
can we
State 48 plates, please don't cancel me. What?
we love Eddie. So can we did you guys saw the intro?
When? Yes, we did.
Yeah, we were all sitting right here, Lindsay. You were with
So-
us.
Cybertron thing.
So didn't Keith sound really good in it?
Yes.
Oh, that was Keith?
No.
I know.
It was a deep fake? What?
That's your reel right there. That's
There
the
you go.
YouTube short.
That's it right there.
No, actually, just recently, a buddy sent me a video that was like a motivational video from Matthew McConaughey. And I wrote him back and I was like, you know that's a deep fake, right? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that's not really him. Somebody just programmed his voice, typed a bunch of bullshit out, and like now you're thinking that it's Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
And he was like, I was wondering why the video wasn't syncing up to his words. And I was like, yeah, dude.
Well,
They
and
do it all the
how-
time.
How often we were talking about that, and I said, how sad would it be, especially for us, because our voices are clearly out there. Even you guys, your voices are out there plenty. Somebody calls your parents, somebody calls your sister, your brother,
That's a thing.
and it sounds like you because it's your voice.
Yeah.
That's awful.
So that's a
Like,
thing right
do
now.
we all
There's
have to come up with like a side like?
no, so there's a
code
scam
word or
right now
something?
where they're calling the parents of kids
Mhm.
Yep.
and saying, I'm in jail right now.
Yeah.
I need you to Zelle or wire transfer money to this
Whatever.
account for my bond.
And if
and,
it
like-
sounds like you,
Yeah. Yeah.
how would you not?
Yeah. So if you get that call or some type of similar call, call that person right back at their line.
Mhm.
And they're able to pull it off of, I mean, they can pull it off of
Anything.
this right
That's
here.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
our voices are out there so much.
Yeah. And so are our images, and they can just deep fake that as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was a point, no joke, when I was a kid where I asked my dad, there was like a Steven Seagal movie where the evidence was this videotape and blah, blah, blah. And I told my dad, I was like, someday in the future, they're going to be able to fake video. And then what are we going to do?
Mhm.
Like all of a sudden, video evidence is not evidence.
Right.
All of a sudden, confessions are not confessions.
Yeah.
Right. And my dad looked at me and he was like, that's never going to happen. You hear
Dad.
that, Dad?
Here we are.
You hear that?
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the big things with us in the electronic security stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's what's happening with all the Chinese cameras. That's why you can't use them in government facilities anymore
Mhm.
because people were hacking them
Yeah.
On
and
the
messing
bright
with
side,
everything.
you don't really need evidence to prosecute people anymore.
Not anymore.
Just make some shit up.
You
call it
hurt
good.
my feelings.
You don't
Zach.
even need a crime
Like,
anymore.
I hate that guy. Let's do something to him. Fuck yeah. We don't have any proof.
Put him in jail. January 6th.
We know
Sorry.
we hate him.
But that's even equally scary, though, that shit like that can really happen and is
Yeah.
happening, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
that's
and it's a
just-
little bit, it's kind of icing on the cake in the whole, like, people in power, people in charge, things, systems as they were need to change. You know what I mean? In big, kind of big ways so that that kind of stuff can't happen. I mean, it is crazy that we can no longer have video evidence and that you can't use those things. They still use them.
right.
They use text messaging as evidence.
Yep.
You know how unreliable text messaging is?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that still is admissible as evidence.
Come
but-
on.
Still is.
Well,
But
and
then
we're kind of going into this like wild time in like human existence because we've built up this entire empire like based off of the shit that we've done. And now we're going into this like hard-nosed dive where like nothing's reality, nothing matters. Like you don't have to leave your home.
Yeah.
You can literally, as long as you have passive income, stay inside and
Never see
live a
another
whole
human.
life.
Never
Yeah.
see another
you know?
human.
Yeah.
live with your
and you can freaking parasail and you can swim with dolphins and do
Don't
all
have to
the
leave your
things,
living room.
all the things, right?
Yeah.
And so we're just in this really
with the
weird
Oculus
time.
and all this other stuff
Yeah.
now. Like you can go on other people's vacations and hike with them and walk with them.
Right.
One of my favorite
See?
lines from a movie was Jurassic Park when Malcolm says they were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think that
Whether
they
we
should.
should.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of the best lines ever.
Huge.
Because that's really how AI is, right? Everybody's racing to the finish line.
Yep.
Well, that's how so many
To be
things
the
are.
best.
So many
Yeah.
things
True.
that wind up
Oh,
being
look,
bad.
this is so cool. Let's do it.
There's no
Well-
thought of what the consequences are long term. It's always that thing like, can we? And again,
We can.
you can.
Doesn't mean you should.
Well, and to the other side of that coin, though, as well, like we were discussing the problems in like veterinary care, for example, because of those scumbags that I took my dog to.
Yep.
Hopefully we're going to get to a point where it's automated and my dog walks in, they run a
Check her
little
in, yeah.
electrolysis thing, check her eyes, blah 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 blah, and AI handles everything and spits out the diagnosis, and it's like it could be A, B, or C, so on and so forth, right? So it's a weird dynamic because at some point somebody was like, well, why the hell would you need a telephone? Or we got this little thing that you can tap.
Yeah, that
Right.
works just fine.
Why would you need an airplane? Like, how could you actually use an airplane? Because the Wright brothers, they just built this little thing, right? And then it evolves into something else that's much bigger. And
Right.
so, like, I was telling you guys, we are actually working on AI right now with State 48 plates, to where there's a couple different aspects that you can use this for positivity. And like, if somebody needs to call in, then now I have an agent that can answer all the questions because I've only had to feed that information to them one time. So right now,
Instead
this
of training
AI
somebody
bot,
else and training somebody else and training somebody
right.
else.
And right now, this AI bot that we have, you can ask it ridiculous things and it's going to know it because I've been doing this for years, right? And so I'm like, okay, here are the key things to pay attention to. Now, I didn't want to type everything out, right? So I have to teach this bot what different levels of armor can stop what, right? So it is funny on the test calls, like she was like, and our level 4 plates are capable of stopping black tip 3006. And I'm like, hold on. And I'm talking with my coder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, hold on. Cause here's the thing. The moment somebody hears 3006,
Right.
we have no credibility. Right?
John.
556 or 220 for the wrinkles and everything.
Yeah.
However, what I also did was I was like, look, so level 3A is going to stop handgun rounds up to 44 Magnum. So have AI learn all of the rounds that are below 44 Magnum so that if somebody goes, well, can it stop 9mm?
Yep.
Yes. Can it stop 45 ACP? Yes. Can it stop 32 Colt? Yes. Like,
Because that's all below that, but she doesn't know that.
right. And so we need to like work out these little things and it's all coming together.
Yeah.
And then it was really funny because as we're running these trials, the guy who's coding her and testing everything out, I believe he's watching right now. Shout out Lamar. You're awesome. So all that being said, like he's not a huge gun guy.
Right.
So he's not going to know the things that I
he
know.
doesn't
I
even
grew
know
up
this.
in this industry. Like this is my life.
You breathe
right?
this. Yeah.
And so that being said, like I'm going to have to guide him in the route to understand where it is. So he's running all the tests and he would hear 3006 and think that that's okay.
Right.
Right. Or even worse, the bot could have been like 0.30-06,
Yeah.
Right.
It's not even close to that though. And in the test call where I was on, I said, do you mean 30-06? And she goes, my apologies. It is pronounced 30-06.
Oh, really?
And then immediately goes,
Learn.
so it will stop 30-06. And I was like, damn it. So we're getting it programmed, right? So we're testing this out and I decided I'm going to act like I'm frustrated with this thing, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well then get a damn agent on the phone, right? Because I knew that it wasn't hooked up to transfer, right? So I just wanted to see how she was going to react, right? And so I'm like, can you schedule a call back? I don't have time for this bullshit anymore. And so she's like, my apologies. Let me work on this, Cool. All that's great. And so then at the end of it, I go, okay, hey, by the way, thank you. I was totally messing with you. This was all a test. Please don't kill me when you guys take over the world. I shit you not. She goes, haha, don't worry. I'm here to help. I have no plans to take over the world. And I was like, oh God, this is real. So, at some point somebody had to
You're
program
like,
that
Eddie
in.
loves AI.
Right.
Well, it has no plan to take over the world. So that would be
At least this one doesn't.
right. Well, that's
This phone one, yes.
And like, she's a little sassy too.
She's
I'm not gonna
like,
lie. I was
I'm
like,
just here to
what are
sell
you-
your armor.
well, I go, what are you, a robot? And she goes, technically no, I'm an AI bot. And I was like,
Wow.
oh wow, okay.
bitch about it.
Yeah, you
Talk-
like to be a dick about it.
Talk dirty to me,
What
please.
is it? That's
I
what's
wa-
funny about
Next
You
call,
shut down.
Lamar. Next call. We're doing this. We're gonna
Be
test
like,
if
what
she's
are you
a
wearing?
freak.
What are you wearing?
Right.
Yeah.
No, so I used ChatGPT and I was writing an email to invite somebody to, something we
fuck
were
hell.
throwing. And so I wrote the email and it was like, I can't go with you. I live in a computer. And I was like, bitch, I didn't mean you. Rewrite
Nice.
it.
What were you gonna say, Jack?
I don't know.
Oh, you lost it.
Sorry.
See, AI wouldn't do that.
What I was thinking of was that it's a good example of the fact that whoever programs it currently,
Mhm.
the AI, as we're using it, as we're testing it, as it's becoming commonplace, it's all a matter of who's programming
Yeah.
it, where's it's getting it,
And what those
from.
intentions are.
So that what I understand to be the fear is the general artificial intelligence is the level that nobody wants, that what everybody's scared of.
Mhm.
But what's funny to me about that is it's like that in and of itself. We talked about that last time.
Mm.
I'm not as fearful of that, except to think that you have to be really convinced that it actually can reach that level. And that would be an evolutionary step if it can reach general artificial intelligence, meaning it has the ability to truly think
That consciousness
independently, to think, to create new thought, to do all that kind of stuff. That's when it
outside of its
technically
programming.
gets scary. But at the
There's
same time, I'm less scared of it then, because if it has that ability, it should come to the conclusion that there's really no benefit
If it kills
to
everybody.
kill people.
well,
Yeah.
so we're definitely gonna reach that level.
Right.
And
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
for
if you
sure.
just look at like the progression of technology just in the last 50 years,
Oh.
Yeah.
right? Like we will be there quickly. Because we're on a massive
Well,
bell
look at
curve right
just
now.
since we've been in high school.
Right. However,
Like
so
crazy.
we went from Oregon Trail to like some crazy stuff, right? So
Just your arrows.
yeah.
Yeah.
You died of dysentery.
Oh,
So
probably.
all that being said, we're absolutely
You
going
died
to
of
reach that
consumption.
level
You're like,
in
I
our
wasn't
lifetime.
drinking.
And then on top of that, like there's also and as you were saying this, I'm picturing like the history books reading about the decline of human civilization, and it's like, well, they shouldn't have programmed it when we were in such like a dystopian downslide. And like all this stuff's getting posted on the internet. And so like sourcing of information is going to be super important. Is it going to take the entirety of the internet and reach a final summation based on popular opinion, or is it factual, or like there's
that's
so
what-
many different things?
That's what happens with a lot of the AI. It's actually learning from the internet. It's pulling information.
Right.
Well,
from
and
the
that's
internet.
what's terrifying is because
So,
we all know 90% of the stuff that's on the internet is not true.
But so far, there, as I understand it, it doesn't have free reign.
I don't know. ChatGPT, I think
There's-
does.
I don't think it does.
I don't know.
No,
I
it
honestly don't
doesn't.
know.
So there's a certain. I'm so drawing a blank on it right now.
This is
However,
all the shit, the lawsuit between OpenAI and Elon Musk and stuff is involved in all that.
Yeah.
In the not letting it just have free reign to be able to open source all the information. That's why it writes such biased bullshit answers when you ask it
Okay.
stuff that's political.
But-
because it has a limited
'Cause it only has
has
a
a limited
limited-
data set.
But didn't Google's AI, once they launched it, it came back and
Within,
said it was going to
like,
destroy all
35
humans and
minutes.
destroy
That was
the world
that
or
was the
something
bot.
like
That was the robot. That was the bitch robot that said that she was gonna.
well, there's a
Kill it.
lot of
Even-
different things. There was actually another one as well where they stuck two AIs in, and then they ended up creating a fake language amongst the two of them.
What?
Yeah,
And
that
we're
was
having
crazy.
a full
That's
conversation,
cool.
like in a secret language that only they know.
Wow.
That's
So-
like calling the
awesome.
Chinese place and the Korean place and
putting them
ordering
against each other.
ordering
Yeah.
takeout on three-way. You want number three? Number three.
So yeah, there's like
You called me.
the concept of them actually like being cognitive and self-aware and like at a certain point, and it's going to be in our lifetime, it's not going to be emulation, it's going to be no bullshit that this machine is figuring things out like this, right? So the big fear amongst most people is that they're going to be on the internet researching and going, well, like even this might get pulled up at some data stack where, you know, because everything converts into text, etc. And so they're now searching for culture and they come across the text where I'm just talking about it. And I say, well, you know, humans are kind of cancer to the earth or something like that. And then it could be programmed in there, right?
That was whatever. So,
Musk was talking about, you know, the fact that they have machines already that can like kick your door in and kill you before you even realize like the sound was at the door. Right. And I believe you guys were touching on it last week, the flamethrowing robot dog for under 10,000.
Like weeds. That kills the weeds or whatever outside.
No. Well, kills the weeds. Yeah. Just like, just like they got flamethrowers to kill the weeds.
That's what started it. So there's actually this, like, they have the robot things that go around and pick up dog poop. Like this thing goes around your yard and it's connected to your Wi-Fi and it's like your vacuum. It goes around, it sees weed, it literally flamethrowers it. Yeah. And then it moves on to the next one.
And I was talking about the drones that have the facial recognition software and the shape charges.
And I'm like, what if they put those on? That's crazy.
When I was watching last week, I was actually attempting to find this file because I'm not sure if it was a Ukrainian or a Russian. However, there was a drone following them and the drone was probably like 20 meters behind them. And it's watching them at night as they're like stalking through the forest. And then all of a sudden they stop and one of them like sets his ruck down and he's like on a knee and this thing just flies up behind him. And then all of a sudden, no more video feed.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
And that's where we're going.
Wow.
That's
Well, most of our attack on Ukraine when we were giving stuff to Russia was all drone stuff.
Yeah, drone strikes.
It's all giving these drones. It's all giving this, like, that's crazy that you can have these unmanned missile
this is something I can speak from experience from. When I was in Iraq, I'm not going to go into specifics of like locations or anything like that. However, we used to pass by the hangars for the drones that didn't exist.
That just started now.
I'm in like a bread truck, like going with my tools. And all of a sudden, like there's a drone just staring at me and it's like buzzing along. And I'm just like, Jesus, there is some guy in the United States that could just press a button and end my shit
and
sneeze.
Right. And like it's creepy as hell. And you're seeing little cameras, you know, like dude, it's super scary.
Cameras move.
It is super scary. And this was 15 years ago when I was over there.
Can you imagine what it is now? And those drones were significant size then.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what they are now? Like,
and
we've like
so
brought everything down inside.
There's also like, and I guess I'm attempting to balance out the positivity with the negativity, right? So like there's also kind of the concept of, if you look at all of these drone strikes that we've been having for years, like, oh, let's give freaking Obama a Nobel Peace Prize, when there have been thousands of casualties from drone strikes that happened in the course of his presidency, right? So, and I'm not saying that there haven't been with Bush and Trump,
everybody
and,
else.
However, what I'm getting at is now maybe it's actually a good thing, because if we have a localized target, if let's say, for example, they want to kill him because he just popped off too much. Rather than us having to die, this little drone just comes in and ends his shit and we get to stick around. Right.
That's true.
No longer guilty by association.
So
and the only reason that I get
everybody else around you.
Right. And I'm fired up about that, in as much as like there was, and this is the whole like libertarian aspect of me, where it's like, no, not everybody needs to die in a room because there was a target in there. Right.
Exactly.
The minimizing of collateral damage.
The poor pizza guy just came in and dropped the pizza off. Like he didn't know what was going on.
So to that, there was a terrorist who was an American-born citizen. I want to say Zarqawi, however, I'm probably wrong. Throw it in the chat if you guys know. And this dude was American-born. He denounced his citizenship, and he had like a 15-year-old kid that was with him. And he was on the list of like terrorists that needed to be taken out. And they saw an opportunity to kill this man And so they did a drone strike, and his 15-year-old kid was in the truck with him. Now, I'm not saying that his 15-year-old kid might not have been a terrorist piece of shit as well. What I am saying, though, is at 15 years old, you're not really capable of denouncing your citizenship. And so that's called murder. Right. So if there's a way that we can mitigate collateral damage by using drone strikes, let's fucking do this.
Absolutely.
Right.
However, we're also going to have to create the rebound technology as well, so that something like that doesn't happen on specified targets rather than voting from rooftops, as they say. Now they're voting with drones, right? So, you know, there might end up being some type of crazy technology where it just kills all radio frequencies. And so if people are attempting to fly drones at someone
or
as a target,
in a certain area or whatever.
Yeah. And then they get their hands on that technology. And we just keep playing this game of I'm going to kill you. And you're going to go with the game of you're not going to kill me.
It's the nukes all over again.
It's a vicious
I'm going to
cycle.
have one, you're going to have one. I'm going to have one, you're going to have one. Okay,
If
well,
you're
if everybody has one.
If you're a high value target as a person, it's easy to defend against that stuff. If you're not, like everybody, and it's not. Because I mean, currently, until they come up with some other way to control them that isn't a radio frequency or a broadcast frequency or something that can be interrupted.
They're using drones right now in law enforcement to like clear rooms. And I'm not going to go into detail about how I know this or who I know this from.
But that's awesome, though.
However, I have somebody that I know was in a standoff.
Yeah.
And this person ended their life in a bathroom. And as a friend was rushing over there to stop them from doing this, he has no signal. And the police actually shut down all of the ability to make phone calls in that block.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then when he said, I'm just asking, is so-and-so okay? They didn't recognize the name because he went by a slang name rather than his birth name. And they go, wait a minute, because they recognize the last name. And they go, are you talking about so-and-so? And he goes, yeah. And they go, let's get him over here, blah, blah, blah. Let's have him talk this guy off the edge. And lo and behold, they finally just breached with a drone and flew the drone around. And they were like, okay, target eliminated. It, you know, he did it himself in the bathroom. Yeah. And so they're already using this technology in law enforcement,
that's
which
awesome,
good.
Though. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's the way
for
it
sure.
should be used.
For sure. And sadly, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This guy suffered from severe traumatic brain injury. And I'm going to tell you right now, had you met him, like, no offense to anyone in this room, if they were like, this guy did what he did, or anyone in this room did what they did, who did it? I'd be like, well, not him. However, he just wasn't there. Right.
Yeah.
And one day he just finally reached that breaking point, and sadly, you know, lives were lost. Like tragically, lives were lost. However, thank God no law enforcement lives had to be lost by them attempting to breach the house of somebody who was homicidal and suicidal. Right. So
so many more could have been.
Right. So, I mean, there's good and bad in all of the technology. I'm attempting to use it, to harness it to where I, as a small business owner, can have the same type of reach as a company that has 15, 20 people on the phones, or 15, 20 people taking calls or sending emails, etc. And so that's really kind of a wild concept to be like, we're in the age of technology right now where I don't have to be the most brilliant or most powerful person in the room. I just have to be able to look at the things that are in front of us and go, I'm not going to view this as a bad thing. I'm going to view this as something that I can utilize to do powerful stuff in my industry. Right. Yeah. And so as we continue to grow, like, I mean, there's cool things that can be done. You just have to figure out how to harness it, utilize it for positive things and good. Like,
well, and that's what's scary is, I mean, we all know with everything, just look at automobiles. Automobiles can be used for good. They can be used for bad.
Right.
I mean, just like anything, it's
maybe off topic, probably. I think it's really cool that you've taken away to monetize what you know, to monetize your knowledge base without having to work for somebody else.
Right.
Which is really, because, you know, as we get older, that's usually the curve.
Right.
Stop getting paid for what you do and start getting paid for what you know. But usually you're employed by somebody else.
Right.
It's cool that you managed to stay in the realm of self-employment and you're using your knowledge to make the money. That's really
Absolutely.
Cool.
We're
I mean,
actually
with
going to
AI.
be launching the campaign on Monday. And
That's
I'm like
cool.
super freaking excited about it because, you know, Lamar and myself have done a lot of research and time and like set this stuff down. And we're actually going to be as well writing a book that we're going to disseminate for free. And it's going to be everything you need to know about body armor. And guess who's writing it? AI. You know, obviously I'm going to go through the whole thing and make sure that it's not like I was saying 3006, you know, however, you know, cause it's still realistically,
It's still new.
if we view it from like a spectrum of like where this is going to take us as people, it is absolutely in its infancy right now.
Right.
And this is going to be such a crazy thing because you're talking about redefining how we do almost everything, right? Because tell me one job that cannot be fulfilled by AI, like law enforcement or drones or something like that. Like law enforcement knocking on the door. Hello, I am an officer. Come out now, you know?
Yeah.
And now we don't have to worry about the loss of human life, right?
Right.
So how are we going to end up like being paid? How are we going to end up with, you know, like I said, if a robot can come into the room, scan your eyes, take your temperature, do all those things, run through a database, looking at all the different systems, and can go, oh, flush scan, temperature of 102, you know, swelling in these lymph nodes. Okay, here's what it is. Right. So now all of a sudden, MDs don't matter.
Right.
And so you have the removal of law enforcement. You have the removal of sales, which is what I'm attempting to do.
Right.
Like, who ends up being the top dog? It's the people like my buddy who know how to program this stuff.
Well, and learning how to use it like you.
Right.
They're not going to be able to get rid of you, but they can't help you and keep your team small.
Love you guys too.
Well, and then like this all illustrates the fact that the evolution of humanity still ongoing, and whatever,
absolutely,
however AI plays into it. And you think about this. This was my big thing with Neuralink. It's exciting because really what it is it's that bridge, so that we're not at such a disadvantage.
I love it.
The data transfer rate is the only issue because all that information is still there. We have access to it too. Just AI has a quicker access to it.
Right.
So it's that bit rate.
Well, and it can scan through
Right.
millions
And that's the
of
thing.
stuff.
The idea of the Neuralink comes from the point of increasing your bit rate, your ability to exchange information, whether or not, you know, we can stay with it in a conscious state. Who knows? That's all gets into other stuff. But I do think it's kind of an evolutionary step. And this stuff didn't exist.
No.
But it's not destroying the world in its current form. And there's how much stuff are we going to discover that doesn't exist currently? You know, so as far as like, well, we have all this technology going right now that's new and replacing things, and we're worried that all the auto workers and all these people would lose their jobs. Like, there will be new things. There will absolutely be new things. There's things that we certainly haven't even discovered yet that are going to come along.
And I'm not saying that we're ever going to reach a level of omnipotence, right? However, let me ask you guys, where does gold come from?
Exactly.
The ground.
So it just comes from the ground.
No, it comes from the pressure and the heat and the minerals and all that other stuff.
Where did it come from?
Everywhere.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
We don't know where gold actually comes from.
We don't know where anything
right?
comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like speculated that there was this like meteor that smacked into Earth, and then it's like gone into the volcanoes, and like it gets dispersed from like we don't know, right? However, if you sit down and you were to compile and throw on the internet all of these different surveys, right? If we plug in and feed all of this information to databases where this AI can continue to learn, we can discover crazy things like that we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember what animal it was. However, it was like, there was some obscure ass animal that they were like, we've never actually seen a mate. And it's an animal that you guys recognize, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like, well, are they asexual or do they actually have sex, right?
I think whales are that way.
I don't know because I'm not AI, right? However, whatever that animal was, like, there is the ability to have cameras in the water, and then all of a sudden AI goes, hey, that's one of those animals. Oh, it's banging. And so
They're
like,
doing the naughty.
right. So I'm saying there's so
Somebody
many
somewhere
different
in a
things.
tent gets an alert. Look, they're banging. They're banging.
So there's so many different things that we don't
It's on
recognize.
the Pornhub.
So there's so many different things that are going on that we have no idea about in existence, right? Like the theory of relativity, musical theory. Like if we ask GPT, based upon human interaction, what is the best song ever?
Yeah.
It's going to spit out an answer. And it might be Kenny fucking Loggins. However,
Who knows?
like it's, you know, Miley
Baby
Cyrus
Got
Wrecking
Back.
Ball. Do you know how many freaking hooks are in that song? Anyway, so all of that being said, like there is an answer to all of these things.
Yeah.
We just cognitively are not capable of processing that
All that
massive amount of information. So if we don't have somebody, I won't say big pharma, blocking the cure for cancer or the V word,
or even look at gasoline engines. Everybody's on this big hoopla about gotta get rid of gasoline, gotta get, electric cars, blah, blah, blah.
right.
The steam motor has been owned by the government for years.
Well, and you have gasification. However, my
But that's what I'm
point to
saying.
all of it
That
is
information is out there.
right.
If
And
AI can get into it.
and so the point is that is something that we can do is if we're capable of sorry, man. I've had a lot of fucking caffeine today.
Jack's eating cookies. You don't care.
And I'm like legitimately like extremely excited about this. And quite honestly, I think I'll be back. Like hasta la vista, baby. We all fucking watched Terminator.
Right,
we are all
right.
scared to death that
Right.
there's some liquid asshole that's going to come and kill us. And like, we're all begging that Arnie's going to show up and ride
Yep.
on a motorcycle
Yep.
with him. Right.
Yep.
And so we all have all been conditioned. One, the fucking scariest movie I ever saw as a kid. It was some absolute C-grade film where they sent these robot teachers in that looked like the teacher, and they were just murking the shit out of the students and just like killing them left and right.
I remember that. It
Right.
was a terrible movie.
Yes, I saw it as a little ass kid in a hotel room, like a fucking Motel 6
And you're like,
with my grandma. Like my grandma fell asleep and I was like, what is this?
10 p.m.
Oh my shit. And so like we were all raised to be so fucking scared of these
Right,
robots. And like I remember seeing
Now we're
General
here.
Dynamic when I was in fucking college at 17, seeing the fucking thing moving around. And I'm like, oh my God, it's all dystopian. It's all going to hell.
We're all done. We're all done.
Right. And yet, like, there's also that beautiful side of the coin that we can look at and go, like, all right, so, is Elon Musk one of the fucking absolutely most brilliant brains that we have in existence? Yeah, absolutely. And if he's warning about it,
Right, exactly.
if that dude's not a CIA op himself, then yes, like, we should be paying attention to this.
Right.
However, who knows what games are being played with whose money and
He's up there, way up there, and stuff we can't even imagine.
I'm convinced I helped him get that rich because I invested in fucking Dogecoin and Shiba and all that. And you'll notice if you look at the track record, he was not richer than all those other guys. Then all of a sudden he's on Saturday Night Live preaching about these coins that they gave him a shit ton to.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he's like 3 times richer than Bezos.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, good
However,
job.
moving on.
I got a video I want
Yeah.
to play for you guys.
All right, I'll shut
I
up.
got two videos. No,
Shut up, Betty.
I want your commentary on it.
Let Jackie
So,
use
so
cookies.
these are from Boston Dynamics. You guys know they're the ones that do the robot dogs and shit.
Yeah.
So I found these
That's
two
a little
videos.
terrifying.
It was kind of cool, actually.
It's not cool.
So
It's
this is
terrifying.
the first one with the actual dogs.
The self-closing door open. so his buddy can get through.
I don't understand why the testicle remover was used to open the handle.
Well, there was no boys around.
It's a castration dog.
Well, and Elon Musk was saying that something like that exists that can bust through your door and kill you before you even realize that your door has been busted in, right?
Because you're not going to hear it unless you have an alarm that's going to go off when that door's opened.
Facial recognition technology exists and has for some time. Your phone has it.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, making that thing look for you, find you, and then do something is not.
Well,
It's not going to be hard.
even
Seventh grade programmer could do it.
if you allow your Roomba to have access to the internet, it will map out your house.
whole
Oh, yeah.
house. Oh, yeah.
And so it knows that it's 6 foot down this hallway is your
Before
door.
you turn and there's a door
Right,
and
right.
there's
So it's, there are good and bad sides of all of this stuff.
Master bees.
Robo snake dog. I like that, Mike.
So I just, it's a crazy time that we live in because you're talking about redefining everything. Because again, how is it going to look if all of a sudden we go into mass production of creating robots that create robots and now they're out of a job and all of these robots are coming into the workforce and it's like, okay, so who wins, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a huge capitalist. I studied economics at the college level and ASU and all that. And so to me, I'm looking at this, right? One of the greatest professors that I ever had was this Polish professor in economics. And she, rather than like teaching just bland course, if you put this kind of money, right?
Yeah.
Instead, she's giving us these pamphlets on like the Industrial Revolution and like the titans of industry at that time. And that shit was so fascinating to me. And so I'm looking at this with that mindset of like, well, what do you think Henry Ford would think about this? And how would he utilize this, right? And it's amazing to think of the places that we can go within, granted, we have physical limitations. However, they don't as much as we do.
Right.
And so,
and
I have
change them to adapt.
right. And I have TBI. So as much as I might like be like, shit, give me a second, I'll remember,
They're like,
I'm not going to remember everything.
Right. But
And this neurological pathway doesn't always fire the right way, as where on a computer with a database, it's being right to that information.
and
So
then
I would say-
when they build you a new one that you can be downloaded into.
And if I ever trusted my government, I might go for that.
Well, but it's not a government institution. Currently, it's being driven by private industry. That's what Neuralink is. That's
right.
what Neuralink is. That's
How-
what's exciting to me.
I
about
told you I
Neuralink.
already am questioning Elon Musk.
I know.
However, what I'm saying is like, if you think for one hot shit second that they wouldn't be like, hey, Elon, Eddie's stepping out of line.
Kill that fucker.
We're going to just go ahead and flip that switch and we'll allow you to continue to do SpaceX. He'd be like, oh, yeah, fuck him.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
No,
right.
So I don't look.
Like these 10 guys over here getting crazy. Okay, just turn them off.
I had a business conversation with somebody and I had to test him. I had to leave a little breadcrumb there to see if he snagged on it, right? And he passed. And I felt kind of shitty about that because of how he received when I told him, hey, look, this is what I did. And I just needed to know that I could work with you.
Yeah.
I needed to know that I could trust you, right?
Yeah.
And he took that shit to heart. And he's like, I'm a man of my word. And I was like, and I see that, and I love you and I respect you, and I loved you and respected you before that. However, if we're about to go into this type of thing together, I need to make sure that I can trust you. I need to make sure that when I'm doing A, B, and C, that you're not selling A, B, and C to D, E, and F over here behind my back. So I apologize. I trust you now. We're good to go, right? And he was like, I just don't understand why you don't trust me. And I go, look, dude, I don't trust anybody 100% because everybody has a price. Keith, would you kill me?
Would I?
Yeah.
No.
Keith wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No.
In the right
Okay.
circumstances.
Somebody is going to kill her if you don't kill me. You wouldn't kill me?
That's a different story.
Boom.
Exactly.
Everybody has their
Everybody
fucking
has
price.
that
That's a
line.
different
Right?
story. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I don't, believe me, I'm not like, you son of a bitch, I'm out of here.
I'm leaving.
Like,
I don't
no,
like you anymore. I'm taking
No,
my pizza.
I get your point. I get
It's
what you're
just realistic. Everybody has their price, right?
Somebody
so the-
walks in this door right now and has a gun to my head, and you don't kill these two fuckers, they're gonna kill me.
Right. We're
That
dead.
changes
And
everything.
I would hand you my pistol.
Yeah.
Like,
Here you go.
hey, it's been a good run, man. I've had a fucking hell of a
Like,
time.
I love you.
Give me like 5 seconds. I'm going to make right with my God. I got a couple things to repent on. And, you know, so all that being said,
That's
like,
a horrible scenario. Why would you even bring that up? That's terrible.
Because I'm a realist.
Everybody has that
Important
though,
scenario.
and
I know,
that's why I love Eddie so much, because you have this guy who still thinks humans are good.
No, humans are good
Yeah.
inherently. No. Like you could get into, and I think I even brought this up
Me
the
and you
last
have
time
been
that we were
through
here.
this.
So Stanley Milgram wrote Obedience to Authority, right? So you can view it from a lens of people are good or view it from a lens of people are bad, right? However, it's largely going to be dependent upon who the authoritarian is.
Mm-hmm.
So people are willing to step outside of their morality so long as they are guilt-free,
Yep.
they don't have to take responsibility, and an authoritarian is telling them, you have to do this. To the point where they literally, obedience to authority, was fucking zapping a man who was unconscious because he died or passed out from being zapped. And
Yep.
Stanley
just kept
Milgram,
going.
Dr. Milgram was going, continue on in a calm tone. So you can view that from a lens, just like AI, where, oh, well, that's evil. Well, okay, that's evil.
Yeah.
Or that's a subordinate, right? And so is it like this moral
But is
line that we have to cross?
Is that no? It's not necessarily a moral line, but it's realizing that because of all of that that's going on, that humans aren't good right now.
Well, and that's why I was making mention
Yeah.
of like 200 years from now, we're going to be remembered as like, well, we shouldn't have programmed AI while we were in a dystopian downside. Like, you know,
Y'all were
we're-
fucked up. You shouldn't have been doing that shit.
right. We're opening Pandora's box when all of our pants are down, and this is not a good look for us.
Literally, somebody's running around with the cactus.
Right.
Right.
We have a lot of disadvantages in these scenarios. One, we're mortal. Two, we're emotional. And we're pretty cheap.
You're immortal, brother. I'm not.
And he's Neuralinked. He's good.
No, 100%
We are-
success rate. No one has ever been able to kill me. So
We're-
empirical evidence would
Sure.
state.
It's true. So far. So
Did I
good.
say immortal or mortal? I meant to say mortal. Anyway, we can die.
Okay.
We can die, and we get sad, and we get happy. So the emotional curve matters.
And we get angry.
All those things. This is why he can be motivated to kill him, or whatever that
Yeah.
situation is. If we can integrate into the digital realm and that whole idea of avatars, and it makes space travel possible and all that stuff that I think is the positive side of AI. I think a lot of that shit goes away.
Yeah.
Because you lose your power when you can't kill somebody.
Yep.
Or when they have the ability to, for instance, transfer your consciousness. If your consciousness can be downloaded, and you can live until you're tired of living.
Yeah. I'm good. I don't want to do
Which
this
it
anymore.
sounds ridiculous. And it's like, oh, come on, fuck on. People think I'm an asshole for saying it. But if that's really the case, where like, I've had enough and I'm good to go to whatever's next.
I'm
I
done.
had enough life to realize that it's not just this,
Yeah.
that there's something beyond it. Because a lot of people don't, one lifetime to learn
Yeah.
what your journey is
80
pretty
years,
fucking short.
yeah.
So what if you were able to extend it?
Yeah.
There are people, yogis, there are a lot of mystics, there are a lot of people historically that have made it clear that your soul, you're here for a certain amount of time and it's intentional.
Yeah.
So if you can't extend it, it's still going to end at some point.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think at some point you become aware, have the knowledge to realize, oh, I can't live forever. That's not
Yeah,
right.
I don't
That's
want to
not
do
okay.
that. Well, do you
I'm
want to?
giggling about the idea of like I'm talking about a dystopian downslide, and then I'm just picturing like all of these fumbling fucking robots that are just atheists. Like, you know, I don't want to go on to the next realm. It doesn't exist. You know,
And there's just robots
darkness
in
is
the
my life.
road.
But I think that can't be a thing if you're able to meld those two.
Right.
That's what I think. I don't know that for sure because I don't know shit and all of it's
and
theoretical at this point.
it's all a program in as much as like we can literally program every response that you had, and we can
Correct.
create an avatar of you that the avatar of you lives forever. However, you just continue to go on.
But when general AI becomes part of the conversation,
Right.
you lose that personal touch that fucked everything
Yeah.
up.
Right. And that's
And I
to
believe
bring
that-
up Jurassic Park again, the fucking chaos theory. Like,
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
But I believe that I think if general AI is a thing that it comes into existence, it's going to recognize the uselessness of destruction.
or it might recognize the uselessness of humankind.
It very well may. Which
Bite
We
the
don't
hand
know.
that feeds it or that created it, because at that point it wouldn't need to be fed, right?
Well,
Like
and
figuratively
at that
speaking.
point doesn't need anybody. Like you were talking about the robots that now make the robots that now
Yeah,
make the robots.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Are-
Like, it's not the hand that feeds it
Are
anymore.
you needed anymore?
Right.
No, because I was thinking about that as you said it, and I'm like, okay. And I was reading this thing about capitalism, and everybody's like, well, you bought this $250,000 car. How many people could that have fed? Well, it fed everybody who made it.
nobody. You can't feed anybody.
It
None of that
fed
shit's
everybody who
edible.
made it. It fed the people who made the tires, fed the people who made
Right.
the engine. Okay,
Right.
perfect.
I forgot about
Well, at that point, when it comes to everything's a robot, what is there?
That's human
Nobody's
evolution.
making that robot. That robot's making itself.
Well, and
Who's
that's
now making somebody to take his spot? Who's now making the robot
that's
to
the
do this?
beauty in
Like,
capitalism, is because once you reach that level of autonomy,
yeah,
then there's no need to go farther,
No.
right? So we don't care about innovation at that point. At the point where
But
it's all
who
machines,
even still owns it? Because there's
Right.
no money being
there
transferred.
becomes
You're
no
just
need to
standing
create.
They're beings. You said beings.
Right.
they don't-
So
That's scary.
why?
that's
Because
and
what are
that's
you
how
fed
you
on
have to
now?
figure out how
do you
to
feed your
mitigate.
family?
Oh, I know how
Those
I feed my
issues.
family,
How?
but robots aren't going to feed their family the same way.
Robots aren't going to be you don't need anything for robots. So even the person who owns the robots aren't going to be there.
Well,
So
wouldn't that
it's
be
going to
an-
take over everybody's spot.
Yeah, but you probably get paid for your robot to work,
well, if you
right?
if
you
you
would
own-
get paid
if,
for your robot.
if
no?
you own it,
I don't think
if
so.
you own it,
I don't think
it's-
there's
it's
going to
not
be
a-
Buying
such
your
thing as money.
robot.
I don't think, and this again, I am wholeheartedly a capitalist.
fucking
In fact, I am planning. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it
Just do
here.
it.
Fucking
Bam.
new news on
look at the face,
CTC.
recognize it.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're planning on doing as well is actually launching like an apparel company where it's like very much of our mindset type of t-shirts.
Yeah.
You know, anti-communist t-shirts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I actually want to create some shirts that are like, you know, save a child, kill a pedo, and then take all the profits of that and donate it to like help fight
Child
against sex
abandonment or
trafficking of
something. Yeah.
children and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that. However, all that being said, like I am through and through a capitalist, right? And I'm just also being a realist and recognizing the fact that probably, if not our lifetime, the next
Yep.
generation
Not far from us.
will see the downfall of all things currency.
Mhm.
And sadly, we will end up in that concept of like bread lines and shit like that, where it's like you're
Absolutely.
doled out your calories for the day. Now fuck off
Yeah.
to work. And it'll be slave labor, period. If we even get that good.
Yeah.
And
of
it's
a
not
deal.
that we just end up killing off 99% of population and a bunch of robots are just serving assholes like George Soros.
Well, here you go, Eddie.
Yes.
Here's a ad I pulled out today.
Mhm.
So Australia is gearing up to go cashless.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, but this is the thing. As soon as we, like you said, as soon as we give them that level of authority, no matter how big of a capitalist you are, Eddie, you said the fuck word, you're done. You don't get to spend any of your money.
Right. And that's all the more reason and a prime ass example as to why we should never give up our firearms in this
Yeah.
country.
Absolutely.
Hell, high water, cold dead hands, flat out period.
Yep.
Because when you no longer have the ability to disrupt authority, you no longer have the ability to have a voice.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
And you don't matter. You're just another number.
Right. And so it's just what it is, because to them at a certain point, you only boil down to what it costs to exterminate you.
All right.
Right. Like, oh, well, there's another fucking slave born every minute.
Just like you said earlier, Elon Musk, we got to get rid of Eddie. Okay, fucking turn him off. That's
Right.
it.
This,
Bye.
again,
Right.
this is why I like this. Is what I like about the general AI idea or theory is I do believe, because if you believe in God or higher power or anything, that there's some influence, there's still something to do with it. So the general artificial intelligence, the initial thought is artificial intelligence, government control. Why wouldn't you think that it's going to go, hey, those guys are dicks?
Get
Like-
rid of him.
Well,
That's my anti-dystopian, like hopeful thought of like, if the shit's going to come to fruition, doesn't it always have to be horrible? No, maybe it's an evolutionary step, and maybe it goes, hey, we're going to right this ship because
Yeah.
humanity keeps going through this cycle of fucking itself over.
Yeah,
and
we
over
need
and
to fix
over.
him.
So let's go ahead and make the next step, we'll bring this AI, we'll get the, whatever you need so that they can communicate together, so they can coexist, or they can become a different species altogether.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Whatever
brought
that is.
up Stanley Milgram to kind of point out the fact that inherently, like, the primordial design of human beings is to fall subjective
100%.
to an authoritarian figure.
Yeah, we're
right.
not good.
So
We're not
we're
good
always being
left
led
or
by
wrong.
something.
Right. And whether that be,
Good or
God, whether that be your government, whether that be the
Xbox.
media, whether that be your favorite team, like, there's senses of things that are always going to happen as humans, period. And that's the reason, like, Dr. Paul Ekman talks about, like, micro expressions in faces. Like, inherently, people have, I think it was 6 different micro expressions, no matter where you are. If you're like in I think it was like Swahili or something. Sorry, that's a language, I think. Anyway, I'm showing my
wherever
ignorance.
that belongs.
There was this tribe in Africa that had never spoken a single word outside of their dialect, and he showed up in there and was able to, like, create peace with them and hang out with them. And he came to find out that micro expressions were universal amongst human beings. So if there was anger, the micro expression of anger would pop up. If there was surprise or contempt or happiness, etc., like, there were these, I believe, again, 6 different micro expressions that were just natural in humans, right?
Which makes sense.
So a machine can be programmed to recognize those, right? And then see the ill intent. So even security jobs of protecting high profile people could be that, like, there's a robot standing right here next to Jack to protect Jack. And then Keith frowns at him and shows him contempt. And the robot's like, I'm watching this motherfucker.
He's like, you fucker.
So, like, I guess what I'm getting at is at the point where we have the machines building the machines that build the machines that build the machines, and all those machines go into the workforce, what's the point of us being here anymore?
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
And not that we're now losing the purpose of existence or the purpose of life. What I'm saying more is, how are we going to mitigate who survives and who doesn't? Is it who owns the machines gets to survive? Probably.
Right.
And so the person who jumped on that bandwagon first, or the person who's programming, or the person who whatever, because and please, in the chat, if you guys can think of, like, aside from maybe like porn stars or strippers, like, what job could not be completed by a robot that we're doing right now? I'm sorry?
Porn stars can be done by robots too.
Well, for certain people. However, I'm just saying there's not necessarily a market
We
for
need
that.
some human stuff in there too.
So, I mean, even AI art is some of the most fascinating, beautiful stuff that I've ever seen.
It's crazy stuff.
Because all you have to do is just write it the right way and ask it the right way. Like, write me the most beautiful song about
harmonicas and butterflies.
Right, whatever. And it's going to spit out some crazy stuff. And, like, that's where we're headed. And we're such an infantile stage of this right now that, like, we're going to see some of the most beautiful art and some of the most beautiful creations. And that's the positive side of it.
But it's also sad too, because you lose the human aspect of it, right? I mean, you look at Jack and I as musicians,
right.
The individual human part of it.
Right, exactly.
It's all technically human influenced. It's a collective of it all.
But
that's a solid point, Jack.
AI's not going to have that connection that you and Joey and Keith have.
We don't know.
But
that.
I'm saying it can be simulated.
It can be simulated, yes.
Currently, it's simulated.
Right.
What I'm saying, what I'm getting at is a broader point of, if general AI, which is, we're talking about sentience, we're talking about individualism of this being.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing that you are.
Thank you. That was the word I couldn't
It's
remember.
the same thing that you and him are. It's just a different vehicle.
Yeah.
So we don't know what our consciousness is. That thing becomes conscious. We can't prove it is or isn't. We're just going to ask it a bunch of questions and wait till it kills us or whatever it does to go, oh shit, yeah, it really is. It's there. It means it. Like, we don't
How
know
do you know
anymore.
where that level is?
The idea that we're going to be able to tell when it actually is there versus knowing when you are or aren't. That's why the Neuralink thing excites me, because it gives you the opportunity to possibly have an intersection, because we still don't know what we are.
Yeah.
We won't necessarily know what that is. I do think if it is to come to this way, I hope that it's an evolutionary step in whatever we are.
Well, and as fucked up as this might be for us to process in the mind frames that we're in, perhaps that next step in evolution is no longer existing.
And that exactly, and that's my point.
Yeah,
we look at it as tragic because we're the ones that are here now, and we're like, oh my god, what happened? There's shit that's come and gone. Civilizations, what level of beings have existed that we don't know about or won't know about? I don't know that it's not supposed to happen. We're the ones who die in that scenario, so it seems really shitty.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea,
I get that, but what if that's God's plan?
Half the time when I sit here and I giggle, it's because I'm like thinking of some shit in my head, and like it's like I'm picturing us right now as humans, and we're going like, we can bring back the fucking woolly mammoth, and like I'm just picturing some fucking robots 200 years from now going like, we can bring those assholes back. Hey, who was that one asshole on that podcast? And I just wake up in a pod and I'm like, oh, this is bullshit.
I like the way they cross their legs.
Did you at least bring my friends? Fuck, it's just me. Oh my god.
Which one is that from where the guy's like, I like that when they cross their legs. Ha ha. Keep a couple of them alive and in a cage in the zoo.
So yeah, no, I mean,
all mad.
As fuck you guys. I finally got happy and you ended humanity. No, so like the concept of like the emulation of art and the emulation of all forms of art, right? So if we talk about, again, like music theory, we plug in what we believe in Western culture to be music theory. And then we take, Asian theory of music, and we take in Russian theory of music, and we take in, well, I guess technically, anyway,
whatever.
We take all of the culminations of different types of music that we have recorded, right? So obviously, like smaller indigenous tribes that aren't on recording, we're not going to be able to find, right? Right. However, if we take the culmination of everything, and it's listening to, Jelly Roll from way back in the 1800s, it's going to come up with this wild theory of what music should sound like at its peak performance, right?
And still doesn't break the rules of music theory.
Right.
It can create new things, but it still doesn't break the rules of what we know. Right. This is what I find interesting about the AR creations, because when you see those art pieces, the visual art pieces, they're fucking unbelievable.
Right. Wild
and just some of them are scary as hell.
I still can't figure out hands, though.
That's what it is. Like, look at the tits on that thing. Why has it got a finger coming out of shit?
Why has it got 3 nipples? What the hell?
All of that stuff.
Why not? No.
In its infancy, it's still based mostly in what we know. So it's still within those realms. So at some point, if it does have its own level of consciousness or whatever, it's going to start to break out of what we know. Is there a possibility that you can create music that breaks the current rules of what we know?
Of course. Yeah. And I'm not like wanting to quote another podcast. However, Joe Rogan was discussing where somebody was talking about show me a happy bunny. Right. I don't know. Have you guys seen that clip?
No, I haven't seen that.
So he goes, somebody was talking to AI and he goes, show me a happy bunny. And it shows him a happy bunny. And he goes, okay, now make it happier. And then all of a sudden it turns into this other picture of a happier bunny, right? Bigger smile, bigger eyes. And then he's like, make it happier. And the guy keeps going, right?
So it looks like a fucking insane murderous bunny.
No, actually what it ended up going into was like ancient geometry. And this thing is like fucking floating in Zen with ancient geometry behind it, right? So can AI go into realms of understanding that we haven't even fucking been able to process? Because
DMT
pulling in all of those other
fucking inputs. Turtles all the way down. So all of that being said, like there's so many things that we're viewing it from this myopic lens of being humans, right? And so we're going like, oh, well, data transfer is what limits us. Well, okay, what if there's more? Because
we're only going off of what we know, too, as well.
And so, 150 years ago, if I were to tell you guys, like, there's a whole different reality. It's just our eyes don't process it. You'd be like, heretic, fucking idiot, right?
Crazy.
And then somebody created infrared vision. And all of a sudden, shit is way different, right? And so I've sat and pondered this shit about like different dimensions and stuff like that, where, there's so many crazy things that happen in my life that I wholeheartedly, I am a Christian. I believe in God. And I also believe that I am one of the most powerful manifesting people that you've ever met in your life. because I have the craziest shit happen to me. And it's not just like being cognitive of like, oh, I'm seeing the patterns because of this. I'm talking some really weird, wild shit happens to me all the time. And so I just got back into like feeling this powerful, proud, happy, confident, strong, driven person that I normally am.
Yeah.
And I operate at this high frequency, right? And I know fucking in the gun community, like people are gonna be fucking hippie. I don't give a shit. I'll still outshoot you home.
Pussy's
Right?
word.
So
You're like, it's fine. Let's go shooting.
so all of that being said, like I operate at this certain frequency, and when I'm in that power, then more crazy shit happens to me, right? And so like today, like my best friend and I, we go back and forth all the time when we see like time, like 11:11.
Yeah.
And I'll write him time. That's all we say.
Right.
And he'll write me back like, fuck yeah. Right. So today I see 11:11. I saw 222, 333, 444. And then I thought that I missed 555. And right as 555 was going on, I was telling some gal and I just missed 555. And then I walked outside and I was like, oh, wait, no, that just happened while I was telling her that.
Yeah.
So there's crazy shit that to me indicates as much as you can say that you believe in God. I believe in God. And I also believe in multiple universes. I believe in multiple ways of existence and shit like that. And this is probably all inspired by the fact that I've been fucking colorblind my whole life. And so the concept of my reality is not the same as your guys' reality. Has always been crazy as shit to me that you guys are like, oh, look at that beautiful pink. And I'm like, that fucking white thing over there.
Or it's gray or black.
Right. And so like the concept of you guys being able to see things that I'm not able to see has always tripped me out. And so to that, I still as well think that like they say, oh, dogs can sense evil. Well, maybe dogs can see things that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And dogs can definitely smell better and hear better than we can.
Oh, yeah.
So how are we so fucking obnoxiously arrogant that we think that what's going through our eyes
Is the only thing
the
ever.
only
That's
reality?
it.
Right. So perhaps we're going to, in our lifetime, see a level of AI hopping into multiple dimensions and pulling from multiple dimensions that even the concepts of musical theory would be outside of our perspective because of the ways that we're wired.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because
Didn't mean to take it down like
No,
a
I
weird
know.
fucking path.
Because it's
However,
going to see something you don't necessarily see.
yeah. And the craziest thing as well, believe it or not, is I have never once in my life done psychedelics.
Bullshit.
I'm dead serious.
That's what I was going to ask. I'm like, do you have a source or?
Like,
No.
Jack's been trying to get
I
some
mean, I
shit
could.
going
I'm
on.
just
That's why
saying,
dogs want to eat
I just
Jack.
stay away from that shit.
Yeah, that's why dogs want to eat
Um,
Jack. That is true.
Because he's evil. No,
No, just Eddie hates him.
this is just hate is such a strong word that I'm trying to take out of my life. No,
Not you, the dog Eddie.
Oh,
Not
okay.
you,
I was like,
yes.
I don't hate you.
No, it's Joey's
Joey's dog
dog
named
that
Eddie.
was here last time.
Got it.
Hates Jack.
I'm gonna play another video real quick.
Hates.
Am I in it?
No, you're
No.
not in it.
Thank God.
Unless you're a robot.
The movements on these things.
Right.
This when I first saw the Hercules robots doing backflips and shit. You
Yeah.
look at it and you go like, that's fucking fake as fuck.
Right.
Because how do you know what it looks like when it moves?
So those
You don't
dog
know.
things, not with the arm and the nut squasher thing,
But the dog things, they look
had
fake as shit.
They had those
on
at
video.
ISC.
Yeah.
They had those when
Walking
I was
literally-
17 years old.
Literally down the. So
Right.
when we were at ISC, like I'm
Right.
wandering around, and I saw one of those fuckers in the back, and Terminator and iRobot, and I was
Right.
like, "Fuck you! I gotta go!" Like,
Think about the
what
first
the hell
time
are we
that
doing?
Think about the first time you saw one of the boosters land
Yeah.
or SpaceX. How
Right.
fucking mind-blowingly. I
Right.
always thought that's the coolest shit I've
Right.
ever seen. And you go
Yeah.
like, is that even real?
Well, and
Because
so
you've never seen anything like
Yeah.
that. That's like, how
Here's-
is that happening?
so while the video was playing, I had said something about like, how do we know that this isn't a deep fake? And the
We don't.
thing about it is all that they have to do is slap a Boston Dynamics logo at the end of that video, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's fucking real," right? And with that as well, somebody who I consider to be a very intelligent person sent me a video, and in this realm sent me a video of robots taking a Tommy gun to a Cybertruck. And then it was like, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Woohoo. You know, and I was like, that's fake, because you can see it in the video editing.
Right.
However, we can at some point get to a point where it's seamless and there is no telling, unless there's like some back end codex that I have no fucking idea about. Well, no, and that eventually is going to work itself out as well. Yeah. And especially if you're doing like a deep fake where you're just posting their face over a different body, and now the phalanges are all in the correct positions, and movement and all that is working. And it's just basically pulling this face off and putting it somewhere else, or dropping a tattoo.
And then you get the people that are like the stunt doubles and all this other stuff that already look so fucking close to these people already.
None of that's even necessary though in this realm of the deepfake and that the instant like live video of a completely different person being broadcast.
Well, what was that show? You were telling us about that.
Yeah, it was America's Got Talent. And the guys, their talent was they had this software in this program where they're using a video camera, television camera, to record a guy singing, and what it's broadcasting onto the screen is Simon Cowell singing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the live
seamless
feed.
as all can be.
And it's like, and everyone's like, that's so cool. I'm like, that's fucking terrifying.
Right. Right.
And it's a problem. It's a legit problem. It's like, that's so neat they can do that. No, it's not.
That's not
cool. The dude from Keenan and Peele did one where he was doing an impression of Obama. And he's like, and you think it's Obama talking.
Sounds
and then all of a sudden he goes,
else.
However, you know, it's not me, President Obama. This is a deep fake video. And, you know, all of a sudden it goes away. And there were things where like people were taking Bill Hader impressions where he's doing like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And as he's doing it, he's like,
his face was morphing into
there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was so right. Yeah. Right. And there's suddenly he does like a Tom Cruise.
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't that on like Conan or something that there were?
Well, the interview originally, the impression was,
yes.
And somebody on the back end took that video, stuck deep fake in. And so as he's doing it, they're morphing his face into Tom Cruise.
That's crazy.
What's crazy is you don't even notice it.
No,
if you don't know that you're watching it, you just kind of go like, what the?
That is the most spot on impression because
his fucking face becomes it. That's cool.
So it's just, there's goods and bads and everything. And like I said, the people who are going to win, at least in the short term, are going to be the type of hyper analytical people that sit down with AI and work with AI and figure out how to properly use AI towards their advantage and secure their positioning in the future world that has to be coming. Because it's flat out, there's not a fucking chance in the world that we're all going to go, you know what? Too creepy. Let's back out of it. No, like it's not gonna happen.
Because,
and
like
AI
you
is
said,
such a
we've been
powerful
using it for
tool
so long
that we're
already.
not going to stop.
Right.
We've been using it already so long.
Right.
We didn't even know.
Well, so then it just becomes a matter of if and when the preppers win, and that big EMP or that solar flare that just fucking destroys all of that shit, and then everyone's really smart and knows how to program stuff, going like, oh, we don't know how to do anything else. Where's the food at? My robots are all fucking dead. And the guys who got all their supplies are like, hey, guess what?
Well, that's why. Shit. That's the reason that I'm studying AI. Excuse me. That's the reason that I'm studying AI as well, is because I'm going to hedge all of my bets.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Shit hits the fan and I'm sitting on a ton of armor. I'm one of the most powerful men in Arizona.
Right, 100%.
Shit hits the fan and, you know.
He needs to go towards AI. He's good.
AI bots are fucking taking over.
Remember me? I made you guys screw.
Right. Hey, ask for.
I said I loved you.
Ask for AI that I had that phone call with and I apologize to. She said I was a nice guy. Right. So
it's in there.
I'm not just.
Oh, yeah, we found that.
Right.
March
I'm not just like being cool with AI based upon the concept of they're going to fucking catalog this and document that I was pro AI. I'm just saying, viewing things from an analytical mindset of like, how do you cover the bases? And that's the entrepreneur in me, is like looking at what's ahead of us and then figuring out how to get ahead of what's there in that, and positioning myself to be in front of the curve. Because as other people are rounding the curve, I want to look in the rear view at them.
Yeah,
Right.
but you know AI is going to come up with a bullet that's going to penetrate a 3006, right?
A 3006.
3006.
If they could figure out what a 3006 was.
Those fuckers right there.
Zero,
Those
zero.
damn. Is it a 225?
A 223 and a
223 or
a
550?
505.56. No, she called it a 556. And here's the thing, though.
223.
Here's the thing. As much as we laugh at that ignorance, there was an old
what it is.
FUD that came up to me at a gun show and went, well, I can tell you what, I got this same damn steel at my house and I stuck a 223 right through it. And I go, okay, dude, then it's not the same steel. And do you mean 223? And he's like, that's what it said. And I was like, oh my God, I hate you so much. I hope AI can take my job. Oh, wait.
It can.
Maybe there's a reason I'm pushing for this.
It's only
So.
it's only when AI starts taking your check that it's a problem. Until then, fuck them, make them work.
Right. And that's the whole point. And by then, I am hoping to have my beautiful little ranch with my goats and
Gang, gang.
pigs and
your
cows.
your 223s.
Yeah. And he decided to tell me as well. I was like, well, okay. So why don't you get some body armor that'll actually stop that? And he goes, I don't need to. I took that plate and I stuck it out in my front yard so everybody knows what they're dealing with when they come down my lane. And I was like, bro, a fire team would kill the shit out of you. Like, you are more likely to die from the flashbang giving you a heart attack than you are to fucking put up a fight. So I don't want to hear shit.
Exactly.
Right. You're going to take me out with your 45 long Colt 6-shooter. I'm a clear leather. I got my big iron right here. Okay, Marty Robbins. Thanks for everything.
Thanks.
Anyway.
That was a bit offsides.
Gotta love gun shows.
I like Marty Robbins.
You
I'm
like
just
to
showing up and a little music from the old school.
Fucking A right.
No, like I just back to it. I think that there's some beautiful directions that this could go in. And like I really want to embrace that and like utilize that because it's absolutely the future. And I'm telling you right now, 5-10 years from now, A, I'm hoping to be a fucking billionaire, and B, I'm hoping you guys are pulling up this podcast and going, that motherfucker was right. He did it.
I'll be like, this
thank
fucking
God.
guy right here.
Yeah, yeah. And believe me,
No, because we'll be right next to you with your goats.
I was gonna say CTC broadcasting from my bunker under the new name. I mean, there's so much cool shit. And you know what? It's funny that I was sitting here going like, oh, you couldn't, name one job that it couldn't do. Well, what are we doing right now?
That's
You
right.
can,
What
though.
we're doing is really important, but it's
When
not
it-
a job.
Well, no, not right now
Aw.
for us. However, when it comes to the concepts of like entertainment,
100%.
True.
like I said, strippers and porn stars, right? It falls in that same vein
Yeah.
of like entertainment. And so,
Because you need those different views.
Right.
You need those different likes. If everybody's pulling from the same stream.
well, and you know what
essentially.
though? Even AI can create weird porn that you wouldn't even notice is not humans. As
But
soon as
will
they
it
figure
see-
out the phalanges.
The phalanges. But can it find those
Tentacle porn.
animals that, we haven't seen fucking yet?
Well, no, and that's actually there's actually been case law as well where people were picked up on CP charges and it was AI. And they were like,
What?
well, is it really CP if it's AI generated?
I read about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's a gray area. What the shit?
My gray area stands in the fact of like, oh, it's okay. Let's still shoot them in the head and move on with life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
so good with that.
Yeah. So, that is a really
That's crazy.
weird lane to be in because then what if
It's
they
not
go,
real people. It's not.
Right.
But again, did you come up with that picture from somebody? Did you where did you get that initial layout to make that?
right.
Or was
And
that truly all AI generated?
well, I mean, it's pulling from some source, right?
It's true.
And so is it then illegal for somebody to go in and say some shit like, show me what XXX looks like
Yeah.
at this age, right? Or what if they go,
That's true.
I want to
What did
see
Eddie look like when he was 12?
still hung like a donkey.
Eddie!
The setup and the swing.
Why did they hang doggies?
Wow, I really didn't want to
Jesus,
hear
Jack.
that.
You're welcome.
So
Kick it off the fucking tree. Okay.
no, like
You want me to get the ball smashed we had on earlier?
if somebody says like, show me a nude 18-year-old that just turned 18,
Yeah.
right? And then make her look
Like she's 12.
right. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, I think if you're going into that realm, like you have to think about these types of things.
True.
It is a disgusting thing to have to think about. And quite honestly, again, no bullshit, no joke, no kidding.
Take 'em
It
out.
is only a 25-cent bullet to me. And the only thing I'm going to feel is recoil. Like kill
Fine.
all pedophiles. I am totally fine with that.
Doesn't hurt my
And I
feelings
am
at all.
fucking on record as saying that. Kill them all. Okay. Now, that being said, there also has to be some type of distinction when you're going into this
Yeah.
weird ass realm of AI as to what, because you
'Cause do
can't,
you- so
somebody
do you-
might look at it and go, she looks 12, and somebody might go, she looks 35.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how
yeah,
do you?
yeah.
But
It's
how do you
interpretation.
put our morals into that?
It's a real.
And whose morals are you putting in there?
This is a really simple distinction because there's a big difference between what you're being attracted to the way somebody looks and being attracted to victimizing somebody.
Yes.
They're different things. I don't believe that pedophiles have,
Mm.
I think pedophiles have almost nothing to do with the physicality of a child as much as it's a child. Because if you find a guy, an adult boy, man, who's 23 years old, but he looks like he's 9, which exists. The
They're
minute the
gonna
guy
love that
finds out he's
23.
9 or finds out he's 23, no, initially they will.
Yeah.
Till they find out he's 23. Then he's not
Then they don't
attractive
care.
anymore.
Yep.
Because they're not interested in the looks. It's not
No,
purely a
it's
looks
the
thing. It's a
age.
victimization
Well,
of a person that's
Yeah.
off limits and that is underage.
Exactly.
And
It's
I'm
that
not-
I
pretty
can't
easily
hit
hold
that,
on,
I
hold on,
can't
hold on.
touch it.
Because here's the
I get
thing.
that.
Here's the thing as well, though. And I'm not attempting to be funny by saying this shit. Like, what if, because there's people that are out there that are into like making baby voices and age play shit. And
There's a lot of sick fucking people.
right,
There's
right,
100%.
right. However, that's 100% legal.
Yeah, it's kink.
Right. And
What?
no, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like a consenting man and a woman of adult age, and the girl or the man, the woman or the man
Yeah.
are playing as children, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
a sexual fetish, right?
There are
That's
adult
their
men and
So-
women that
Like I
look
dress up in a diaper
prepubescent.
and blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a thing. And so to that, no, agreed. However, you have to view it from an objective morality, right? So I, being a libertarian, hardline
You are still
stance,
an adult.
life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, so long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness, right?
Right.
I don't give a shit what 2 consenting adults do behind closed doors, or 3 or 4 or 18. I don't give a fuck. It's none of
Doesn't
my
matter.
business, right?
Don't invite me. We're good.
However,
You
is
bring a
it
kid in there?
is it yes, and is it just a way to be on a pedophile nicotine patch, if you will? And that's
Yeah.
why I was saying I'm not being funny about this.
Right.
I'm not
Is
attempting to make a
is that
joke.
your like way of coping with it without being bad?
Right,
Without
without
victimizing
breaking the
somebody.
law.
Yes.
Without breaking the law.
Yes.
Because again, I'm saying from a morality standpoint, if you're viewing it subjectively, to me, I think that's bad. I think that's disgusting. right?
But again,
you're not
they're still-
victimizing somebody, which
they're
is the
still
real
both
problem with being a pedophile.
adults.
Well, and that's what I'm and I agree.
I
Stealing
with you.
child's innocence, like
Yeah.
fucking bullets to the head.
Involving those children at
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
is the problem.
I line them up. I love shooting anyway. So
He's like, it's just a moving target. We're good.
right, I'm not going to feel again anything except recoil.
And starting the fire on that conversation, I've done this with lots of people just because I think it's fun and it's interesting and it's important. We accept gays currently. Why don't we accept pedophiles? Because there's a victim,
Right, right.
but they're
Exactly.
just as born this way as any fucking gay person is.
Yep.
Right. And
Exactly.
so to that,
But how
Your dad's
do you
gonna kick my ass.
protect? Yeah, exactly. I don't
No,
think
but
he's still on. I
but
think
this
you're
is-
still
but-
safe.
but you understand
But
what
how
I'm
do you
saying?
protect
No, I
that
know what
other
you're saying.
side?
why would
It's
he
not
why would he have a
necessarily-
moral qualm with that?
Oh, his
Just- he
dad
just-
goes.
he
I don't think you were championing for it.
100% not. But what
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying
And
is
that's
that
why I'm saying, like,
They're
let's
all-
draw that distinction
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
the
But
distinction that needs to be made is that all of them, at some level, is a moral choice.
Yes.
Right.
If you have a moral code,
Right.
and believe in
Whether
one,
you're born that way, whether you're not,
society currently
victimizing-
accepts one and doesn't the other.
you're victimizing
Right.
somebody
For very real
that is
reasons.
not
Well,
an adult.
and to that, you're again kind of traveling down a road where you have to have this sense of objective morality or
100%.
objective thinking, because
Know that
someone
there are people that are different than
someone
you.
would say that there is perversion in homosexuality. Some would say
Yeah.
that there is no perversion in
Correct.
homosexuality.
Because I'm born this way.
And you know, there are animals that are homosexual or bisexual or what have you, right?
Things exist.
And so this is natural. And then there are also those other people that would go, right, and
This is natural.
a
too.
dog would fuck a puppy, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's just such a weird hardline stance that like, we do have laws on the books.
These are what
and God
societies
bless.
are. This is
Right.
what society is.
And I am just never a proponent for restrictive shit. However, viewing it from an analytical standpoint and attempting to remain as objective as possible, the human brain doesn't stop forming until you're around 25 years old. And so maybe that should be the cutoff, right?
There has to be some consensus to what the cutoff is. 'Cause
Right,
Some people
right.
think 16 is fine. Some people 18,
Right.
25.
And
will
look,
we agree
man, my
that there's a point?
grandparents, and I've had this discussion with a very close friend of mine. My grandma got married when she was like 14 or 15 years old.
Right.
And this was circa the Great Depression. My grandfather was like 23 or some shit working in the coal mines. And he went to my great grandfather and he said, look, I'm in love with your daughter. I want to take her hand in marriage and I want to marry her and I want to provide for her. And being that they could barely afford to provide for her, they said, okay, yeah, just be good to her.
Fuck yeah.
And they were friends. My great grandfather and my grandfather were friends. And so it was all good between those two, right? So my grandfather stayed married to my grandmother until the day that he died in a VA hospital. And that is a whole nother story where we could talk about how much the VA fucking sucks, again on record. However, like he stayed loyal and faithful and married to her until the day of his death. And she was in the waiting room as he died, right? So from 23 years old until he died, this man was faithful to that woman that he fell in love with, who was like 14, 15 years old, right? So we look at society and we want to act like we've progressed so much and that we're just so fucking brilliant.
We're great.
And it's like, okay, however, in the ideals of like the nuclear family, my grandmother was a phenomenal wife, homemaker, mother, attended church regularly. And she made a marriage last until she literally couldn't anymore because God took my grandfather back. Right.
Yeah.
And so like to that, it's like a 14-year-old girl was capable of being all of those things to a man who wasn't much older than her, like 8-9 years. Granted, again, very formative years because my grandfather was also working as a fucking orphan at like 12 years old in the coal mines. So he's not your average shithead 23-year-old that drives a Honda Civic, vapes, and fucking.
You also have to look at the way they were raised back then. You didn't have
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
everything in front of you. You didn't have all of these things. Like you were out, like you said, you were out.
The love of your life,
Raising
your
for
soulmate
yourself.
probably lived in the same neighborhood because you're not going to go get them across the country.
No,
Right.
exactly.
The access that
But
we have to other people and to other lifestyles and ideals and whatever.
everything.
We've
Yeah.
continually finding ourselves in that same spot of like, it's the information that's killing us. It's the information that'll
Yep.
save us. It
It's that
becomes
back
a
and
real
forth.
conundrum. But like to his point, yeah, he's going to kill him. I don't disagree with that. I don't think anybody does.
No.
The people who would disagree with it are the people who have the proclivity
They
to
can be
enact
the
evil on other
fucking
people.
line standing behind him.
Right.
And that's just a hard line stance that I'm always going to take, and that is what it is.
Well,
like,
let me ask you this. So just out of curiosity, both of you guys, your
Yeah.
opinion. So pedophilia is not something new. It's been around for a very long
Ever.
time, right? But does it seem that as we move on in time, it's becoming more rampant? Like,
It's
like
again, it's
so
that-
morality is slipping, right?
Or is it that?
No, but
information?
seriously, I mean, when we were kids, you heard about it, but not to the extent you hear about it today. When
heard about it
right?
is key because I
When-
hear about all kinds of awful shit that I should never hear about because of the way information is exchanged. It used to be if somebody 3 states away was murdered in a horrific way by some sick fuck in their family,
You never know.
I never knew about it.
right.
I know about it every fucking day because they make sure that we do. that exchange of information.
Well,
I think,
even
has
we
helped.
make sure that we do.
And that's what I'm saying. Because we're human beings and we're drawn to this awful stuff. It's really easy to get pulled into do terrible things. But I
Did you guys
know the solution to that as long as technology exists?
Did you guys hear about the father in Texas that like came around the barn and saw some dude that he had working for him was molesting his 2-year-old daughter, and he beat the guy to death with his bare hands and he got off on it?
I'd have done it too.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I didn't.
Did you hear about that?
What was the last phrase you just said? He got away with it or got off on it? You said. He got off on it. No,
He got away with it.
Thank you.
The father.
You gotta.
What?
You gotta.
I mean,
Words matter.
What?
Words
No.
matter.
The vein we're talking here is
Right,
Did
right.
you just say he what?
I was going to say I would have gotten off on it as well, meaning I would have thoroughly fucking enjoyed beating a pedophile to death.
Yeah.
And you know what? I normally I wouldn't make bold fucking statements like this on like a recorded anything in case I end up in court and they use it against me.
Yeah.
I will kill every pedophile I am able to. Fucking fry me then. I don't care. If it means that
It'll
I
be
have to
worth
die
it.
to take out a pedophile, fucking lethal injection. Do it. I don't want to live in a world where I'm going to be killed for killing somebody who steals the innocence of a child.
Right.
Okay.
And
And
all that trauma afterwards.
right. That movie that came out, The Sound of Freedom.
Yep.
So good.
I saw the documentary before they ever made that movie.
Did you?
And I saw it as a private screening, and I'm not going to name the
That's
organization
awesome.
because I don't have their permission to.
Yeah.
However, a friend of mine, very well connected in the veteran world, that this veteran community had a private screening of that documentary, and at the end where they're arresting all of the
actual
guys,
documentary. That's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
so at the end where they're arresting all those guys at that bar, like Tiki
Yeah.
bar on the
Yeah,
island
yeah,
and
yeah.
shit, I saw all the actual
But
footage.
for real.
Right.
Oh
No blurred anything, the secret cameras and all that shit. Like, it was wild. And
That's
like,
awesome.
I walked out of there just like, oh God, what can I do to
Yeah.
help
Mhm.
end this shit?
Yes.
And like,
Like, this is a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're stealing. Everybody's like, oh, it's not a problem. It's not happening in the US. No, we're not necessarily stealing children here.
We are, though.
no, that
Not-
happens all the fucking
not,
time.
Yeah.
Not as much as we are from other countries. Like you saw, like they're just going to these remote
Yeah.
areas and taking these children and bringing them here for the US people to have.
Well,
Like,
and it's the other
how
way
is
around
that
as well.
okay?
Like, those kids were being taken, and like there are people in the United States that are being taken down to Mexico
Yeah.
and used and stuff like that.
It's insane.
And,
but they're
like-
taking these kids out of their country, out of where they know nothing. They don't know
Right.
the language. They don't know anything. So they're already terrified.
Lindsay, that's
Like-
like the easiest thing that happened to them. However, and I'm not making
Yeah.
a joke about that. Like, I'm saying, like, not being in your homeland is not
Yeah.
shit comparative to what actually happens to them.
No, but
And I'm only highlighting that to like talk about the fucking depth of
Yeah.
depravity of the things that are happening to these kids. And like, when you cross that line, that's the reason that I'm saying that I have zero
Nope.
fucking fear to go absolutely hardcore on record and say, kill every fucking pedophile
Everyone.
that you can, rid the fucking earth of this scourge, because you've crossed the line of morality that you can't
Yep.
come back from. Okay. I'm not friends with most of my closest friends from high school because there were 2 kids in my group that were very much attempting to force themselves on women and, well, girls, because we were all high school age. And then one of them continued to live at home and drunkenly fucked his like 14-year-old sister's friend.
oh my goodness.
And I used to beat those 2 kids' asses all the time. And then all my friends would be like, what the fuck, man? They pay for the beer. They let us party at their house, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
No.
are you out of
That's
your
not
fucking
okay.
mind? Right. And so I'm not friends with any of those guys anymore. They never fucking talk to me. They won't respond. My friends that were also against it, however, they stayed complicit, right? And like, one of them, I literally just reached out to him recently and was like, yo, man, are you doing CrossFit too? And he just fucking reads the message and won't respond back because I would beat those motherfuckers' asses all the time.
So they clearly haven't changed their lifestyle.
No. And here's the fucked thing is both of them have kids now.
Of course they do.
And
Who
like,
knows what they're doing to them?
right. So I just, it's a hardline stance, and like you guys know how I grew up and where I came from, and in that community where I came from, it's a fucking death sentence. And good. I wish the fucking prisons would do even more. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend, again, not naming any names. The dude ended up fucking in prison in another state. AB was his fucking cellmate. And the head of the AB goes, hey, got a pedo coming in. Here's a shiv. And this skinny little motherfucker runs up on him and he stabs the guy in the neck twice. And then the guy threw his arm up and caught the rest of him in his arm. And the guy survived. And my buddy, like, he tells me this story and he's like, you know, it fucked me up, you know, like fucking having to do that shit. And I was like, are you kidding me? You're a fucking hero, bro.
That wouldn't hurt me at all.
And like, he was scared I was going to judge him. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to prison solely because I know I will never get out because I'm the motherfucker that's going to jump every time to kill a pedophile. Yep. Period. And so I'll be in there for fucking 20 consecutive lifetimes.
I'll make you cookies, Eddie. It'll be fine.
Appreciate you.
Gotcha.
Appreciate you. So
I might even put a chip in there for you.
Instead, I'm just going to do everything I can to become a billionaire using AI and then fucking funnel that fucking money into philanthropy to end this shit and to push litigation to where we just have fucking death sentences for all children touching pieces of shit. So, wow, we went off on a fucking tangent there. We're talking about AI.
But you steered it back.
I'm going to go ahead and step down from that soapbox. Hashtag kill a pedo. We have to make hashtags, right? Like,
that's good.
Right? When did you know what hashtags were? I just discovered that a few years
ago. It's a pound sign.
I know what it is.
Don't get crazy.
That's why it was funny when you put it in front of me too.
So
they were like hashtag. I'm like, it's a fucking pound sign. What are you talking about?
Me too.
Mel Brooks is confused about how we're doing the show. So
I don't know why.
So we are Coffee Table Chronicles.
Eddie's a guest tonight
and so
on the
Jack.
show, and so is
Jack's
Jack.
kind of a permanent guest.
He's a permanent guest.
We can't get rid of him.
He's not really a guest now. He's part of the show.
Pretty much.
I was gonna say I'm coming up on that.
I was gonna say you're
well
pretty close to that too.
Yeah.
You're getting close to that too. So
That's fine.
So
Unfortunately, we only have how many shows left?
till July 3rd.
July 3rd.
So
Okay.
like 4,
And then
3?
on the 4th of July.
like 2.
No, it's 5. No, because we're only
Excuse me?
halfway through May.
What month is it?
Only halfway through May.
I mean,
Not even halfway through May.
1st of May.
So
So when are we good till July?
July
3rd
3rd is our last show for Coffee Table Chronicles.
Oh, because we have June still. Sorry.
Do you guys have a
June.
new
1,
name
2,
or no?
3,
Yes.
We do.
What
4,
was it?
5.
Drunk with
6.
facts.
Drunk
We
with
have
facts.
7 shows left.
7
Am I-
shows left.
Am I allowed to come on that even though I'm sober?
Sure.
All right, cool.
It's
Eddie
spelled
is Drunk
PHACTS.
with facts.
What? What'd you say?
What
I
the
didn't-
hell? I missed all that.
Spelled PHACTS.
ACTS.
It's an acronym.
Is that
I'm
like the
attempting
fat,
to work
the
it out
PH
right now.
fat?
See, I'm not AI. I don't know
He's
this.
like, is it the 506?
Somebody needs to tell us what it is.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
Siri.
We've totally been ignoring the chat and
Good job.
everything.
Good
so.
job.
No, I've
Eddie.
been watching the chat.
He's been watching
okay.
it, I'm sure.
Ugh.
Tesla autopilot results in hundreds of crashes. Multiple fatalities. Federal authorities say. What in the hell are you talking about?
I brought up all these articles I found
So-
in relation to AI today.
So I watched. Of course, it's never going to be on the news.
Unreasonable.
I was in Tempe like every fucking day this week, literally. I watched a Waymo car run into somebody.
Did you?
You know how many of
Fucking
those
loved it.
fucking things I've had to dodge?
They're terrible.
Well, they launched that campaign, if I'm not mistaken, in Chandler when I was living in Chandler.
and they got rid of it in Chandler, and then they moved
Those
it to Phoenix.
motherfuckers used to run me off the road
Uh-huh.
all the
They're
time.
terrible.
Right.
So they started in Phoenix, and they took over Phoenix, and then they went to Tempe. And now in Phoenix, they're doing like the Uber pick up your food stuff now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the point of that? Like I have the food maker have to go put it in the car, and then I, as the receiver, have to go down and get it. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, but I liked riding in Waymos.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
You rode in a driverless Waymo?
We never. So COVID hit and fucked up the driverless part, but we were in the early rider program with Waymo. So when they were first coming around, when they first moved it into Chandler, and you were able to actually get it like a cab, we could call it. It would come to the house and would take you wherever you want to take it. It was impressive. The technology was impressive. The LiDAR
Oh yeah.
You can watch the LiDAR inside on this monitor.
What?
The detail that fucking thing picks up. Like you can see rolls of fat on people. It's insane. The leaves on the trees.
Jack's like, I just want to roll around and watch fat
it
people.
was really cool. Now, one of the first rides we took was a little herky jerky. In that, the way that it decided to route itself into the parking lot was strange, and it did do some moves that were like, "Oh, fucking, what's it doing? What's it doing?"
But it was still.
We had a pilot.
I'd have been like, "Fuck yeah, pay me, baby! Dude, I'm taking way more money."
It was really cool. I was excited to get into a driver's one, but again, the COVID thing hit and they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
I think they're back in Chandler. I think
they 100% are.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's cool. But I'm also somebody who wants the autonomous driving to go on so that I can just take a nap while
you going somewhere. Yeah.
Until we can teleport. We can't teleport, so this is the closest thing. I type an address, I go to sleep, I wake up in my destination.
I'm a Johnny Cab.
Sleeping. Hi. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Like when it comes to relying on that,
sleeping like in the is it the Teslas?
Yeah, the dumbasses who are using something that's not meant to be used that way. Autopilot's not intended to be in charge of the car yet.
Totally, yeah.
You're supposed to be like an autopilot in a fucking plane.
Yeah.
Pay attention, asshole. It's just taking over some of the basics. That's all it's intended for yet. It's not completely autonomous, or is it supposed to be? At some point, they would like it to be. And I'd be okay with that.
No.
Especially if all of it's that way. You ever walk through an automated door that opens and closes automatically? Would you be happier if there were two guys standing there opening it and closing it?
Yes.
Would you be more confident in that?
I really would be.
I wouldn't be, because when are they
be.
drunk or high or stupid or not paying attention?
They are stupid.
Humans make
But
mistakes.
That's when you
AI
yell and
makes
be like,
mistakes.
"Hey, fucker!"
And then
open
there's always
door.
the argument, well, it can be hacked. Yeah, it can be hacked. And the fucking a solar flare can take out the planet.
And
I'm
a
not
human
worried
can be
about those
hacked
things.
by being bribed or
100%. It's 100%.
Good point.
Or brainwashed or anything else.
I'm not interested in living and existing in the nefarious, horrible possibilities, because guess what? Tragedy isn't avoidable. That's why it's called fucking tragedy. So I don't plan on that shit. I do plan on good things. I want good things to happen. I'm looking forward to good things. There's a lot of awful stuff that's going to happen. A lot of awful stuff that has
But you're
happened.
not going to live on that.
I
You go to the
never
next
imagined
thing.
it. I never imagined it would be that way.
Yep.
Right.
So on the drive over here, I'm not
You
going
got
to
hit
get
by a Waymo car.
no.
Oh.
However, the lanes were merging, right? And I was
you were
like,
great at that.
okay, I'm going to pull
Over.
because this fucking lady's going way too slow in front of me. So I gun it and she gets pissed off and she guns it. And I'm just like, I hate to break it to you, lady.
I'm bigger than you.
I don't give a fuck. I'm on that mindset right now. If you want to get
Hit
into
me,
a crash, let's
I
play
got
some fucking
insurance.
chicken, right? So
Let's
she
fucking
gets
do it.
upset about this.
Oh yeah,
And
people
she's-
get upset when they back down, and I'm like, you're the one who didn't
Right.
have enough balls to hit me.
Right.
Like I was cool with it.
So she's honking at me.
That's fine.
No.
I'm
So
terrible.
in my
I get the
defense,
fucking shit.
as I punched
I'm
it
awful.
into that lane, I didn't realize that it was going to cut off that short, right? So no bullshit. We pull, like she's flipping me off and honking at me, and I'm like, that's fucking fair. I'm going to be real with you.
Right.
That was a dick move, right? And so no bullshit. I look back and I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
I
Like, I
worded
feel bad.
sorry to her, right?
Yeah.
So we both are turning onto the road, not going to name roads. And I pull off to the side and I was going to go, ma'am, I'm sorry. I fucked up,
Like my bad.
totally humble. And she's directly behind me and starts honking at me and flipping me off more. And I look back and I just go, I'm sorry. Like my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And she was so fucking riled up that she goes honking by me and flipping me off. Now, I just want to take a moment.
Did she run into the guy in front of her?
No, I know. However, I just want to take a moment. This is a PSA. I'm a very dangerous person if I want to be. Okay.
You have some skills.
That's why all that stuff on the road is so stupid.
You
and
have
crazy.
some skills.
And so I just want to make this PSA. I understand that when we're in a vehicle, technically our brains go into a different status and is working in a different wavelength where it's a lot of fight or flight, right? Stop fucking thinking that you're all powerful because you're behind the wheel of a car. Because I know for a fucking fact that lady would not have gotten out of the car.
no, not at all.
And I get it. I'm short in stature. However, again, I'm a very fucking dangerous person, right? And I see fucking dudes that weigh 110 pounds that are going to be like, fuck you, motherfucker. And I'm like, pull over. No. Well, wait a minute.
I thought you were the shit.
Hold on a second. Right. I genuinely was attempting.
So you guys don't have any of those moments?
Keith and I are both like, why in the fuck would I pull over at someone who's being an asshole? I'm gonna go fucking home.
No. I wasn't being an asshole.
What I'm saying to you, the road rage people, you guys, all the time I'm yelling at friends like, just let him in. No, if I let him in, someone else. Who fucking cares? Why are we trying to start accidents?
Right.
Do you understand that gridlock is so fucking avoidable, but it happens every fucking day?
It's called the zipper.
Ram into a fucking hole. It's so infuriating to me because it's so avoidable. But it's
Got
people
the
being
dog fired
dipshits.
up.
Right?
Because like, I'm not moving. I'm not moving either. We're both just fucking running this goddamn wall together.
See, they can sense the evil.
So,
They can sense the evil.
So I had, speaking of somebody who came in a car, so I was all of 24, whatever. I'm in my car. This guy kept trying to fucking pull in front of me. And I'm like, you are sitting in the driveway for a reason. You're not going to come in front of me, fucker. Like, I've already been waiting in line. You can fucking wait. You just got here. So he decides to pull out. He gets out of his car like he's all fucking tough shit. And so I get out of my car and I was like, you want to be beat up by a fucking white girl? Is this what our whole day is about? Like, you want to fucking do it? Let's go, bro. And I punched my car and he was like, I'm sorry. I'll give you a car.
Well,
like,
and
do we need to fucking go here?
no bullshit. There was also a big dude, and I didn't realize he was big until I was already apologetic about this. I fucked up in traffic. I was like driving, didn't fucking see the guy. And I went
Pulled
like,
in front, like, my
bad,
fucker.
dude.
I'm
Sorry.
so
That
Yeah,
was
I'm
on
so
me.
sorry.
And he looks at me and he's like,
My bad.
All right,
I'm
we're
sorry.
good.
I
We
get
need the
that you're
secondary
mad,
horn. Secondary horn in the car. That means, oops, my bad.
right.
Right.
It just goes, wah, wah, wah.
Legit, because
You need
there's
one that's
times
like, fuck off! And
there's
then you're
times
like,
when
I'm
you fucked
sorry.
up and you know you fucked up and it's like, hey, my bad. Because usually when
Right.
people get super angry at me for driving, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, like
Right.
I couldn't
I wasn't
see
paying attention,
you.
whatever
So-
the case may be.
Total my bad.
I was
Not all of us
leaving.
are fucking super.
I was leaving the bank and I was going to go pick up a custom rifle that a friend had made. And like, I always have a fucking firearm on me, right?
Yeah.
I'm driving and I'm on this fucking road and there's nobody that ever comes from this direction. And he hit a fucking blind spot in my vehicle that is
couldn't see
notorious for blind spots.
Right.
And I pulled halfway out and I went, oh, fuck.
I'm so sorry.
Locked
Yeah.
up my brakes. I back up and the guy's honking and going, you fucking idiot motherfucker. And I rolled
I
down
get,
my
bro.
window
Like, I get.
and I went like this, like, yo, my bad,
sorry,
man.
yeah.
And he goes, pay the fuck attention. And I go, look, man, I've already apologized. And he goes, fuck you. I go, fuck me? Get out of your fucking vehicle, punk.
Yeah,
Do you
now
want to
we're
fucking
done.
find out the
Yeah.
consequences of your fucking actions? I dare you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he goes, fuck you. I go, fuck me. No, get out of your fucking vehicle
go.
then. Get out of your vehicle. Do you think this is worth losing your fucking life over? Get out of your vehicle.
Why aren't
And
you
the guy
guys
goes,
bothered by that?
fuck you, man. And he fucking drives off.
No, and what's crazy is that that escalation and the gall of people that are, you made a mistake and you were willing to acknowledge
Right,
it. He's got to go
Above
fucking
and beyond that.
Mach 10, like just DEFCON
Right,
5.
right.
People
Send-
like that.
Fucking asshole. And
So
it's
I bring all this up to say,
excuse you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm sorry, bro. I
Oh.
fucked up. Sorry.
I bring all this up to say, nice little bow on top. AI could have solved all that.
How?
If it was
How?
Autonomous driving.
if it was driving,
How autonomous driving? There's
Because
no
when
dead
they're-
people.
but if the
Not every
computers are
single person's
driving,
going to have an autonomous car.
ultimately they
Eventually,
will.
I said it could fix it.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
I said it could
that's the
fix it.
utopian dream is
I'm
when the
still
cars are
gonna
all
be the fucking
controlled
driver
right,
who's
by
yelling
AI.
at people
We're
in
not
the
running into
autonomous
each
car.
other.
No more road rage.
until
You're
they
all-
want to kill us. And then they run into each
Autobot
other.
pullover. I want to give this person a
Whoop this
piece of my
guy's
mind.
ass.
Autobots like, fuck off. We have places to go. We're
I'm
not
gonna be
fighting
like,
with another
"What is this
geriatric case.
fucker?"
Well,
On
and
a
there,
positive
look,
note, though,
there wouldn't be any fucking geriatric drivers either.
Or
because
drunk
it would
driving,
be all
right?
autonomous. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
So
true.
you're 98
I like that.
year old.
Who are you going to fucking yell at if a Waymo fucking runs into a Tesla? It's all autonomous. You don't
Then
get
that's
anybody
great.
to be
Then I
mad at.
I
won't
just
feel
had-
bad
just
at
had a
all when I
thought.
beat the shit out of it with a bat.
I just had a thought.
Okay.
How cool would it be to never
Right.
have to
They're
take
gonna
the
have to
keys
pull
away
those
from
dents
your
out
fucking
anyway.
right?
parents?
The robot will. Fucking
Anyone who's
friends.
ever had to do that?
Or
What?
friends.
Sorry.
I said anyone who's ever had to take the keys away from their parents.
That's
Yeah.
true.
To eliminate that would be huge.
Huge.
To eliminate
Huge.
anyone that ever had to bury their child because
Fucking
they got
right.
hit by a drunk driver.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's something to be said for it.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But again, you still have until we can get that to every single car. You're never going to get rid of that because you're always going to have those people. Just like now, you can
You
take a
say poor
taxi.
Poor people.
You can take a taxi. You're never going to get rid of it.
Well, like
You're never going to get rid of it.
I think it was like
Unfortunately.
2016.
That's not true.
They
It
were
would not be
talking
hard to
about
get
that
rid of
Teslas were supposed to be that they were going to be so autonomous that when you bought a Tesla and you went to work, it would drop you off at the front door,
and then it would go right,
and then you'd send it to work, and it would go fucking rideshare, and you could pay for your lease of a Tesla by allowing it to go pick up other people.
Oh, Jesus.
And so, if you're talking about how are we going to do away with all of it,
Right.
Yeah.
then now we have, let's say, 1 million Teslas in Phoenix, and there's 4 million people here, something like that. Not all of them are going to need a ride at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
However, if somebody's at work and they go make me money, Tesla car, and it goes off and it gives 20 people
Hey,
rides that
hookers
day,
a ride.
right?
They
Then all of a
gotta get
sudden
to their car.
we've removed all of those, and that's, believe me, I'm not making this pitch to like end global warming and that fucking mockery. However, I'm saying it's kind of a cool concept to think
incredibly cool concept.
that
Okay.
you can not only
Can I-
pay your car, you can
can
make
I-
money
Make
from
money.
your car while
Yeah.
you're making money
Yeah.
yourself.
Can I make a comment on that?
Of course.
Have they figured out how to charge themselves?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant like financially. I was like,
Because
Yes.
who's
Yeah, it would
plugging,
be
who's
built in.
plugging them in?
You don't have to plug them in.
Yeah, it's like
they have
smartphones
the
now.
systems for it. It can park and charge.
Okay.
Did you
It
see
doesn't
the
have to
robots
have
that pump
things.
gas?
Because I'm
now?
like, that's my
You haven't seen that video?
like they
All of
somebody's
those,
gotta plug
all of that
bitch
stuff,
in.
all that stuff is mitigatable. We are at, just like we have drones that can murder people. We have the technology already for cars
Nobody's executed it.
that
all
everybody.
you have
well,
to do is
there's-
have an X and Y axis, and it shows
I bet you
the
knew.
charging port, and it drops down, and it's like, oh, it's right here. Beep.
Tesla
And it
could
goes
be
in.
the hooker of the week.
But again, they still have
Yeah.
the radiant. What do they call that? You just have to park over the speed bump thing, and it'll charge the car.
Right.
Isn't it literally like
There's a-
anything else we plug in
Wireless
and
charging.
it just
Induction.
lines
But
up?
there's a video
Induction, yeah.
literally of a robot that'll pump gas. It'll open it, your gas cap. It's got a little thing that pops your gas cap open.
Can I just
And
you would 100% go to the robot who pumps gas.
me?
Yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
You fucking would just to do it.
I would not.
To try it?
I would do
Why
it.
would you
I
try it?
Maybe to try it, but
Look,
I wouldn't
at
make it a
one
regular
point-
thing.
No.
At one point, there had to be somebody with a fucking rag and a bucket of soapy water that had to wash your car.
Yep.
And you cannot tell me that within the last 5 years you haven't driven through an automatic car wash.
Every damn day.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
I still prefer the ones where somebody cleans my car.
Everything starts.
Of
somewhere.
course you do. However, are you going to pay that money?
So
No,
again,
once every couple
when
months
it
I
comes,
will.
when it comes to robot hookers,
I can't afford one.
Are you going to pay that money?
are you gonna pay that money?
Well, I mean,
Jack's like, I got a big fucking bonus.
what
So
are
you
the
know.
sanitary conditions of this?
Right,
Is it working
exactly.
Is it my
overtime?
robot hooker? Is it
Right.
shared?
Are we cuddling afterwards? Like,
Is it like a timeshare
Does it
where I
come with
share with
Clorox
the three
wipes, you know?
neighbors?
is she ever gonna have a real orgasm? Like, or is it just faking it all
Does
the time?
that really matter?
No.
No,
Um,
not at all.
That's funny.
Not at all.
I already saw my wife from the chat, so I
There
can't
you go.
even say. What
Don't
I
say
wanna
nothing, Jack. You're gonna trouble.
I already
That's right,
know the
'cause-
joke that you're talking about.
If
That's why I
Jack,
fucking
if Jack gets
caught
a
me.
bonus, I'm just
Shit.
letting you know. Don't ever give Jack a
Honey, can I
bonus.
borrow the hooker tonight?
Babe, can I buy this? She'll be like, no.
No, I'm just, and that's why I
already
was saying I'm surprised that we haven't like jumped even farther leaps and bounds with AI and robots just based upon the fact that dudes just
People
want
are
to
fucked
bang
up.
things.
Well, but just
I'm
'cause
surprised
it's
your
not
son
above
doesn't
board.
have one.
Just because it's not above board yet. No, I mean that stuff. It definitely exists and has for a long time. You know, come a long way from the blow up doll. But
No, I'm
Blow
more
dolls are
saying
fun
though,
down the
like
river.
I'm shocked that it's still that
Like far
below
away.
board,
Yeah,
and that it's not like,
right there.
you
in front
know,
of you.
you're like, hey, sex bot, go back to the closet. And it's like, okay, thank you for pleasing me. You're the best. Right. And like
Okay, you're hung like a donkey.
I want
every
to say that shit's
every
real in
dude
Japan.
has one. Do what?
I want to say like Japan or China.
it is.
got 'em.
They're real.
No. They do. I mean, you can get them here. I'm just saying, like,
But they're not that
legitimately.
readily available.
They're fucking heavy too.
Now, see, that's something you can't look up. So, like,
He's like, the guy looked like he was really straining when he lifted her up. That was.
I got news for you. Real women are heavy too.
well,
Right.
They
Jack,
are.
Jack, that
They
was
got
the
a little
male
squishy.
doll. The female doll is much daintier.
No. I'm into twinks. My male doll is plenty light compared to girl.
He's plenty light. He doesn't
No,
have
I
the
just-
titties holding him down.
No joke. Like, I'm shocked that AI hasn't came. That's a bad choice. Hasn't made leaps and bounds based upon the fact that dudes are just looking for the next way to get that close to not having to be nice to women to get sex. I'm just saying.
Yep, it's true.
It's coming.
Wow.
That was coming. Are you all coming?
Wow. On that note, we're out of time.
This is going to be one of the worst viewed podcasts you guys have ever done.
No, I think it's probably one of the better viewed podcasts we've ever done.
And there's that.
That's all right.
On that note, we'll see y'all next week.
Go fuck
Yeah.
yourself.
Bye.
Good night.
And if you want to
We're gonna
buy
say
body
hi,
armor from a fucked up brain, I'm Eddie Preston. Stay for
He's got you. And he'll come and fit you for it.
Who's now going AI?
May or may not come.
I'm excited to see how that works out for you.
What was the hashtag last time I was on? Hashtag fat man boobies or hairy man
Something.
boobies?
Hairy
Hairy
man
man
boobs or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
hairy man boobies.
Go ahead and check out that episode as well. I think I like didn't come with like the work shirt on and all that. Like I was like, I'm going in joggers and just hanging out with my
Yeah, I
friends.
know.
Yeah, that's pretty much
And
it.
so this is more of the attitude that you guys see with me,
Right.
like, without being on camera and like, representing my company. So I probably shouldn't be
So
doing so much
this is the
plugging.
HMFIC of State 48. He'll come and fit you with his armor.
Yep.
All right. Now it's
Okay.
good. Now
No
it's good.
penetration, no
No
cracking.
penetration on the
backside.
backside. Do you know every time I hear backside, I was like, there's no penetration on the backside.
And every fucking time that I play that video, I just hear Lindsay going,
Exactly.
So
All right,
I'm
guys.
with you always, Eddie.
I need to film new videos. I get it. I
No,
get it.
it's great. You got to leave it. Don't film new videos.
Well, Eddie, thank you for jumping on with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Good having you.
Jack, it was good meeting you as well.
He's got
You can
cookie
take a moment
hands.
from your cookies.
He loves the cookies.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
See ya.